Red to green moves across the board here for not only futures, but individual stocks helping back to the upside here this morning. That's the S&P 500, or the SPY, at least the ETF. Right now, back into positive territory just to start the morning off, coming off a big move to the downside. That's the Nasdaq, not quite there yet, but we're ever so close to positive territory. Banks under pressure here this morning on credit fears out of nowhere. We're going to talk about the banking sector all of a sudden to maybe take focus off of elsewhere. China also in focus once again this morning. A couple of White House representatives already making comments on the simple fact that, quote unquote, Scott Bessent coming straight out and saying China is not, or the U.S. is not in a trade war with China currently. We will have some representatives from China speaking with representatives from the U.S. coming up later today. So lots to look forward to as far as the global picture is concerned at this point this morning. But individual banks looking very similar this morning too. The futures had a look at JP Morgan early on, downside to the tune of about 2% at one point. Here we are back to not only positive territory, but then some. This comes out of nowhere, really. Yeah. That JP Morgan, the culprit here, making some comments suggesting that the banking sector as a whole could be in worse shape than everyone thinks.
Yeah, that cockroach comment, Brendo, resonated widely in the market. Really what Jamie was referring to is the Zion Bank Corporation and Western Alliance. They disclosed bad loans, which kind of reignited fears about U.S. lending practices. But analysts are coming out and saying, look, this is an isolated incident. It's not a liquidity problem, and the market really shouldn't be concerned. So we'll have to wait and see how that all pans out. But the KRE over here, which is the regional banking ETF, already up 2 1/3, bouncing back, Brendo, from the aggressive sell-off, but Bitcoin continues to sell off. IBIT down here 2 1/3%. Okay, Joe, in the pre-market. Joey's getting excited. He wants to punch in and DCA, Brendo.
Buying with both hands over there, Joseph.
Lots to talk about today, Brendo. Also, Pony AI, a Chinese autonomous driving company, looking to tie up with Stellantis, kind of help them move the needle a little bit. And then Apple is going to drop a touch screen MacBook Pro, something they said would never happen because of the overlap, obviously, with the iPad apparently coming out next year.
Ramin and I were talking about Huawei with a new product yesterday that it comes looking like a laptop, folded, laptop. Okay. When you unfold it, the keyboard is removable.
Oh, I've seen this.
And then the monitor is twice as big as a normal. Right. So, yeah. Apple's got some work to do, I think, as far as China is concerned. Anyway, Scott Bessent still making a few comments here, guys, on China. Trump earlier also helping the market back to the upside, essentially saying that these 100% tariffs on China are, quote unquote, not sustainable, suggesting that it's not going to last. So, I mean, as Joseph is this morning, buy with both hands, I guess, at this point. So that also helped, the overall market. Oh, yeah. Big move back to the upside here. Not quite there yet for the Nasdaq, but S&P just going red to green. We have Obi in for Sean this morning. Good morning, guys.
Good morning. Let's go Blue Jays. Well, Joe wants to buy things hand over fist.
I heard they did well.
They did well.
They did really well. Yeah,
they won the game. Who cares? Mad Max is my spirit animal. I don't want the big. And I cannot use the words that man used on the mound to say that I'm not coming out of this game and it's my game. But suffice to say, the man is an absolute champion. I have no idea where that's been all year long. It was not there, but he stepped up in a big moment. And you know what? The buyers are trying to step up in a big moment too, because all you heard overnight was how scared everybody is. I don't know, I still feel like we could have rollovers. So I have some shorts that I'm thinking about, but how scared everybody is over the regional banking issues. And then China issues. The funny thing about the president is, okay, so he did call the tariffs, the 100% tariffs, unsustainable. He did say that. But if you listen to the entire interview, it's not as if everything is an all clear. It sounds like that, but you listen to the whole thing, it wasn't some big all clear like I think the market is treating it. So there are some concerns still underneath there. You got to watch KRE today. Obviously, the chips will be back in play again. Micron's got some negative news after what was such a good long yesterday. Even so, like silver's down 1.5%, that pullback. Gold and silver maybe slowing up their run. So I don't think we have the all clear, even though you are getting a pretty solid bounce this Friday morning, Obi.
Yeah, I think definitely stuff to watch out for. See, I was totally a little. I knew the banks were kind of fading yesterday, but I was totally aloof to some of the catalysts that were happening there. So I got a bit of a miss on my part, but I was a little bit more focused on some other things like let's say Google yesterday. Google. Funny enough, I know technically not necessarily in play, but absolutely aggressive bid off of the open. I don't know if you guys were watching this one, but relative strength all the way up to 256 and a fade all day, 100% reversion. Now we saw some of the selling come back in, step back in. And for the past couple of weeks, we've been talking about how we've been selling a little aggressively at the ends of weeks, but this week was a little bit different. We got the tariff scare at the beginning of the week. Yeah. Yesterday we got some aggressive selling for pretty much the rest of the day. I'm curious to know what happens today. Look at that. Google gap down. It's reverting a decent chunk of that gap down, pretty much 100% of that gap down back into some of yesterday's prices. But I'm really looking for some of these pops to not really be sustainable. That's honestly what I'm maybe more leaning towards, but I could very well be wrong. Again, at the end of the day, I just got to listen to what the market is kind of telling me. But I like that move on KRE. Bit of a gap down bounce that we're having. The Nasdaq once again maybe attempting to push right back into that 25,000. I keep talking about that 25,000.
All roads lead to it.
It's been a bit of a magnet. It's been a bit of a magnet. We're washing it. We're churning it.
Every day this week.
Yeah, every day this week. We clip it at least once. So I think it's something to watch out for, something to be just to keep your eyes out for. But there's a lot of other stocks as well. I was just talking to you about how some of the rare earth stocks are starting to
caramel.
Caramel. CRML. But that one is looking nice. TMC, MP, all of those ones. Russell Jackson.
What up, Russell?
Thank you very much for the
shout out to Russell Jackson. Oh, is that the Vegemite from down under?
Is that who sent us the Vegemite?
Yeah.
Really?
We've had this for like 5 years.
That was some good stuff, man.
Don't even talk about it.
That was some good stuff. I don't know if you guys remember.
No, stuff is disgusting, bro.
It's all right.
Nasty.
Tolerable.
No, but definitely another day, another dollar. Like I said, like it's been a profitable week. I think yesterday was more of like getting away with some longs more than anything else. I think today, like the willingness to play in either direction is going to be key. But just to always point before we throw back to the desk, not throw up back to the desk, throw back to the desk. Like every single day on the Qs, I'm just going to throw the Qs up because it's easier here. Like we have managed to get close to about 2,500, but around the 604 area on the Qs. It's just resistance, and then a bit of chop around. When we lose it, it's been nasty. Every time we've lost that level. So if the Nasdaq gets to 2,500 or 25,000 in Qs, I'm looking to fade. And it's one of those things where, as volatile as it's been this week, look at the week. Like this is Friday. And since then, we have bounced inside of the range, more or less. And every attempt to break out above on the Q604 and that 25,000 has been met with a rejection. Like it's been a false breakout. So I think we got to respect the range, especially on a Friday, and given what's happened this week. So when you get up to that top, I wouldn't be shy about turning on that fade trade.
Let's get into a couple other things moving around here this morning. Micron was one of the early ones to the downside this morning, right back to almost green. Green would be up here at this point, 202.50 and change. A couple of notes to deal with for MU, but I mean the space in general this morning, semiconductors, some of the tech sector going to be, I think, the make or break for this day, whether or not we get any kind of positive momentum. I was just going through some of the weekly charts as well. I mean, we're right there. It's kind of a doji candle, really, for the S&P and the Nasdaq. Dow's still green at this point on the week, but the other two, it's going to depend on how today shapes up.
Absolutely, and we saw Nvidia lose a technical level yesterday. It's down in the mid-170s, Brendo. But the Micron headline is quite interesting here. So they plan to stop supplying memory chips specifically, though, just to data centers in China. They're going to continue to sell in China, just not to data centers. This is following the failure to recover from Beijing's 2023 ban on its products, quote, for critical infrastructures. So despite the exit, as I mentioned, they're going to continue to sell to companies that deal in autos and smartphones, just not data centers. So this is one of the things where there's obviously retaliation here. So the U.S. has hundreds of Chinese firms under what they're calling the sanctions list. Very few American companies are under the Chinese sanctions list, but this happens to be one of them, Brendo. Much to their chagrin, Samsung and SK Hynix are going to pick up the tab where they're not selling. They're going to continue to sell in China.
Yeah, it's one of those days, however, when you zoom out a little bit, each individual stock looking very much like the futures charts at this point. Typically on days like that, really it's the market that's leading here, or the storyline for the overall market that's leading here. So just keep that in mind. Secretary Bessent and China's Vice Premier Liu set to speak today as well. So it's Scotty B once again maybe coming through here. We'll see.
Did you hear the comments he made about the Chinese critical minerals push, about, you know, trying to control the exodus of that? Scott Bessent, that is, saying that, you know, Western countries and that are more aligned are going to have to take a group approach to this with China, because the way the Americans are interpreting this is that the Chinese want to control the supply chain of critical minerals, and right. You know, that's not unacceptable, untenable position for the West. So be interesting to see how you kind of reconcile that in the negotiations. Yeah.
We were talking about CRM a little bit the past couple of days. They had their investor day going back to this day, 2 days ago. We had a huge move up. Started the day pretty positive yesterday, and then it was just a fade from there. We had a move down here this morning on the pre-market chart. There was a lawsuit. It seems minor in nature, but CRM coming back to basically break even on the morning. We had a whole bunch of things that moved early on in the pre-market this morning. All of that seems to have been kind of neutralized at this point, guys, but it's almost like a wait and see to what will be the next reason to move here for the market.
Yeah, I totally agree with that. We were literally just talking about how the chop that you've been getting at the open, where almost randomly you could just look at CRM. We were just talking about it with regards to Micron as well, where whatever the initial move at the open is, it's a trap. Like CRM was a trap at the open, and it wasn't. And the crazy thing about it is, if you sprung the trap, you won long. And I don't think anybody, look at a 3-minute chart. Is anybody really complaining if they took a long in the 52 range and got $4 or $5 up there? Sure, but then when this broke and showed, and the word Obi was using, which I like a lot, is structure. Like when it showed you something actually for real and then broke that structure, look at that trade. So yeah, absolute chop fest. And if you just take some shots in there, you certainly could have won long. But then look what happens when it breaks that structure to the downside. It's just, that's an easier trade. So I think, especially it being the third Friday of the month, end of the month, and the week that we've had, that's the kind of thing I'd want to be ready for. Like, I don't know that this is the morning where, okay, the AMD 2 days ago was my best, yesterday was Sean's, and they were both open style trades, and a similar thing with Micron or Silver yesterday alongside. You got it one time off the open, and that was kind of your best trade. I'm not sure that's going to be the case today. I almost think you might have a little bit more patience, and then you might see something after 10 o'clock present you with the best opportunity. That's my gut feel for today, so I want to be a little bit more patient with it overall. And I was saying, you could apply that. I'm using the example. Sorry, I meant to go to Micron. I was using the example of CRM just because that's what we were talking about. But then you look at Micron, the same thing. Whatever the initial move is at the open, harshly, it just ends up being a reverse. So CRM did it one way, Micron did it the other. But once it shows you a little bit more certainty, and it can be after 10 o'clock. This made that bottom right there at about 10 o'clock when 197 finally held. It's the level I like from yesterday, and it wasn't until 10. So the level of patience that you're going to need sometimes at the open is going to be key and certainly crucial. And then throw in all this regional banking mess. If you're not watching the VIX or KRE today, I think you should be, because if we start to see some weakness over here, then obviously the market is prone to follow it. So it's not something that's usually an indicator, but go back to 2023, we've seen it be a theme before.
Yeah, I think it's a good point you bring up on the kind of chop and just waiting for structure, man. Yeah, that's what I'm trying to do. And something I do want to kind of point out is, yeah, if you guys have been watching, the VIX is above 22s, 23s, went all the way to 28s this morning. So just as a simple indicator, when the VIX is elevated a little bit, maybe we're going to be experiencing some more volatility. That may or may not be the case. But it's just, yeah, just waiting for structure. And I was even saying this a little bit earlier to some of my pod members. It was just like, dude, like VIX is elevated. It's understandable, like regardless of what you're doing and what you're focused on, just know that things might be a little bit more choppy than usual, and giving it that room. Less is gonna be more. You don't need the same kind of size to capture some crazy moves, right? It's like let the structure form, let the kind of chop tell you, and then let it get somewhat clearer for participation. That's what I'm trying to tell myself as well. But yeah, just a reminder that yeah, we are a little bit elevated on volatility. So interestingly enough, we saw the chop in terms of, we're talking about AMD off of the open, and then Micron off of the open yesterday. Absolutely crazy. Like I was watching it, I was like, yeah, I don't know if I want to participate just yet. But yeah, waiting for things to really kind of show you and being patient, I think, is very, very important in this market. And also sitting on your hands. We talk about like how many intraday catalysts are we getting, right? Just so many random intraday catalysts. So if you're sitting on your hands and not in any positions, you're not really taking on that catalyst risk. But you're waiting on the sidelines for when those opportunities appear. And if you're day trading, like those could be some amazing opportunities because you're just like, I'm just going to wait for someone to throw a wrench in all of this, and then I'm going to be part of the solution.
I'll show you Tesla.
Right? What's going on?
You'll love this on exactly to that point, and what we were just also talking about. Like in the middle of the day, you could find something which is making a nice move up. It's nothing crazy, but it's already put in, there's bang, there's a lower high, so you're seeing a little bit of a reversal, and then you start to see it break that structure. You can be short anywhere like VWAP, and then it turns into just an absolute like barn burner. We've seen that almost every single day, those opportunities.
Very much.
And the other opportunity we have is to talk to our good friend Randy.
Did you say barn burner?
Yeah, I did.
Scherzer. He's a barn burner. I love it.
There's every adjective I want to use for Scherzer is not appropriate. That's all I'm going to say, because that dude was a bad shut your mouth last night. And as I'm a happy
age ain't hurting him none.
No. It would hurt me. Or 95, you can tell I'm a little bit of a Blue Jay fan. We got to handle business tonight, though, for sure. I got one little beef before we head back over to the desk. So how is it possible that every game in the series is at like 8 o'clock or like 8:30, and then the Friday night game, which is obviously the night that everyone's cool to stay up, that crap is at like 6 o'clock in the afternoon?
Really? That's early.
Sunday night they're playing at 8. Last night they played at 8:30.
That makes no sense.
The day before was like 8 o'clock, and then on Friday they're gonna play at 6. That's what happens when you play a West Coast team, man. You get some weird nonsense.
I don't get that. Sunday at 8, but Friday at 6? That's wild.
I don't know, man. Wow. Same reason nothing makes sense. Nothing makes sense. And no, we did not get lucky. Bonkzilla, that's a good one. See, and I like this too. Yeah, lack of catalyst for Tesla. And I think this is the whole point for like patience. Ultimately, like you're going to have some things that are in play. Like we know like the regionals are in play. Novo is, whoops. Every time I type in one of these symbols that I haven't looked at in a while, like, I go to Blue Ocean first. Novo Nordisk is in play. Like some things have news, but for the ones that don't and might not be in play, if you like it, you don't have to overtrade it in the first 30 minutes. Like something that doesn't necessarily have something going on with it, you don't need to get wrapped up. As I said, it's the third Friday, so that means you've got major options expiration, and it gets a little bit choppy off of the open. So yeah, patience should be a bit of a virtue. Novo, that's still on Blue Ocean. Yikes. I don't know if this breaks down, but when everybody on both sides of the aisle wants drug prices lower, and then they specifically say GLP, it's not going to be good. And Novo does have a flat bottom break happening. I mean, it might happen at 53. I shouldn't say happening because it actually hasn't broke. Thanks, Randy.
We had Sean in the chat real quick there. What's going on, Sean? He's saying "Go Jays, go!" So yeah, definitely, definitely the city's celebrating for sure. And he's got a tournament today. So yes. Good luck with everything there. Yeah.
Good luck, Gia.
Is that an older banana? Okay, I was gonna say that banana is not ripe.
No, I always have a banana from like I grab one because they're never ripe. So the smart move, you're smart.
You just leave it there until the next day.
Yesterday's banana there, and then eat this one.
You're swinging the inventory until it becomes ripe.
Seems like that's not exactly going. It's not a crazy idea. It's just sort of obvious. Why would I eat an unripe banana?
It's not unheard of.
Yeah. Let's get back over to the desk and talk some stock.
Anyway, just looking at a couple of other things here to deal with. Starbucks, one of those, to the downside early on with the overall market. Not a lot of volume here this morning. Trying to go red to green as well for Starbucks. We mentioned this over the past couple of days. I mean, nothing significant to talk about as far as news catalyst, but they are dealing with this ongoing union. Will there be or won't there be a union? I mean, this comes on the back of a whole bunch of stores here just shut down once again as well. After we went through the same thing, or anyone who was working at a Starbucks in Toronto went through the same thing potentially. I think it was 2021. They shut down a whole bunch of stores, and we're right back to the same place.
And they just did it again, Brendo. They shut down 4 or 5 downtown Toronto stores, and the employees there were completely flabbergasted by the whole thing because like we were inundated with customers. We were doing such high volume. They didn't understand what was going on. So this is clearly an issue for the company now, where there's a unionized push at the store level to kind of, to unionize. And it looks like, the group of investors here are encouraging the company to get something done.
Yeah, stock doesn't seem to mind at this point. It was one of those situations, though. I mean, one day I was walking to work, and Starbucks was there, and then on the way home at night, it was no longer there.
That's crazy.
Sign was gone, windows were covered, and this store was really, really busy.
And that's what they're saying, Brendo. They're saying, like, how could we shut this down? We were doing several thousand custom POSs per day, and they didn't really get much notice either. So it was not really a good look by the company.
It almost feels like they have a list, a P&L list, and the ones that are at the bottom. If it gets to that point, they're just gone. So something to think about, something to watch here, guys, for Starbucks potentially today.
Yeah.
Starbucks, we're further. Everybody with China risk is going to be on my. I'm not convinced yet. That being said, all that being said, Starbucks has an awesome opportunity. I know we've said this before about things that I want to be swings but haven't been yet. CRM 100% comes to mind here. Where specifically, I'll get to that chart a little bit later. Like, I'm looking for something very specific to set up a swing trade, and it just won't quite get over the hump. Starbucks is very similar. It gets made the bottom. It's like you call it a quadruple bottom. I think that's fair. 1, 2, 3, and then give this one, and then call it like 4. So like that is legit. And all you got to do is break out the 50 period. And that, to me, that's more technical than anything else. I'm not going to sit here and say that I'm a huge believer in the turnaround and want to invest in it. I just think there's a chance for this to finally go, and I want to see confirmation about the 50 period moving average. Because if it's been respecting it to the south side, then like the day trader in you says, well, you should fade when it gets to resistance because it's been in a slight downtrend. And until it breaks the downtrend, then there's no long there. So short term, it's been a good long, but it's right up, like 86 is about that level you just saw. So I would respect that for today. You close above that 50 period, and obviously that couldn't happen until next week. And I think there's a good swing opportunity off of the lows here in Starbucks. But just to play a bit of a bounce. This is not a stock that I don't own it, and I don't know that I want to add it at all. But I think it can set up a swing.
Yeah, I like the idea here. It's just I like that it's bouncing off that 78. We can see that it's a bit of a demand zone here from earlier. Strong wipe on this earnings report from April. What is this? Yeah, at the end of April here. But interestingly enough, it's coming up into some levels. You can see this downtrend as well, bouncing up. Yeah, it's true. It's been on some espresso for the past few days with that little bit of a bounce, but it's coming right into that range high as well. I got a little bit of an anchored from that earnings report as well. You can see we're coming into some of those levels as well. That's at 86. So I like the idea. We're bouncing off of some support. Sideways consolidation, bigger picture though on Starbucks. But right now, Neil, let's see what these analysts are saying. Joe, take us away with some upgrades and downgrades.
All right, guys, excuse me, happy Friday. Let's get rocking and rolling this morning on some of the upgrades and downgrades. All right, on the top of the list, we have Advanced Micro Devices by Bank of America, getting that price target raised to $300, slightly negative on the session. Now, Interactive Brokers reporting yesterday after the bell some fantastic numbers coming out of that brokerage. BMO Capital Markets raising that price target to $84. Now, CRISPR Palantir Therapeutics by Bank of America also getting the nod, raising that target to $93. Oracle by Piper Sandler, target to $380. Now, as for AST Space Mobile, we're going from an overweight to an underweight here by Barclays, and then Bragg Gaming Group, Citigroup giving that the outperform to market perform, and Comcast by Rosenblatt Securities getting that price target lowered to $33, and then Legend Biotech by H.C. Wainwright getting that target lowered to $60 there, guys. Now, as for some of the options activity on yesterday's options chain, so this is going to be expiring today. Congratulations on some of these underlyings. You get those 0 DTE. That is only going to be on Fridays for stocks, all right, guys? So at that $200 strike price, we're seeing that we have 28,000, 900 contracts traded on that specific level. Open interest sitting around 12,900. Now, CoreWeave as well too, putting in a little bit of volume there, guys. 23,200 at that 145 strike price with 20,500 contracts still currently open. And then the fan favorite Robinhood at that 140 strike price, we have 8,700 contracts were traded yesterday, and the open interest lying around 13,000. Now, I bring you what I promised, so this is a little bit of a trial run, what I'm calling the call of the day. I think something that is extremely interesting. If we go back onto NVDA's chart, you can see at that 195 strike price on this week and next week's expiration cycle, we have some substantial volume and OI. One thing to note is that we had major issues breaking and holding 195 all week, so go and check out that on this week's expiration and for next week's expiration. You can see right now that you're currently collecting approximately $68 per contract, and then also the ask is around $70. So the spread is relatively tight, and the deltas and the gammas are relatively cool as well too. That is something positive. And the at the money IV is not overly heavy, 44.8%. So the implied volatility is not priced into the market. What I have displayed here is that specific strike price, the expiration of the 24th of October at 195, and what you receive for writing. This is a writing of the option. You have a probability of profit of 86%, and the max loss is a little bit higher. Why? Because you're writing and it's naked, but the probability of profit is something that you want to keep an eye out for. Just correlate that with the high levels of open interest at that 195 strike price, and you can base some trades off of that. That is up to you guys. That's the call of the day. I hope everyone has a fantastic Friday.
There it is, Joey Options, 195 NVIDIA next week. Shout out to Joey Options, our good friend over there. I like it. I want to flip back because we were just looking at the upgrades and downgrades, because ASTS, some people like to call it ASTAS as traders, but ASTS, this looks like a little bit of a back end of the trade. Like anytime a stock does this, like there's your big topping tail. It happened to fail at $100. I mean, that doesn't necessarily mean anything, but it doesn't really hurt either that you had that fail breakout just yesterday at $100, and now you're playing lower. Now the thing is, there's a bunch of supply like here, like 90 to 93. It's almost like let it trade into that supply, confirm that it's headed down, and then play it to the other side. Like when I look at things that followed through yesterday. Here's the example that I'm using. Something like what happened with MP. Like fails a breakout of 100. There's your break of 100. There's your fail. So there's your supply zone. And this is it coming into supply and then fading. And then it ends up being a 2-day fade. So ASTS has that exact same setup. All it has to do is try to trade into that supply zone from 90 to 93. Because oddly enough, like I didn't have that one on the note, but this is 100% going on the iPad in like 2 seconds. The second I throw it over to Obi, and it's going to go up on one of my level 2s, because that's why we do the upgrades and downgrades, and that's why we go through the rundown, and that's why we have Sharif's list. So maybe make sure. Well, first of all, if you're not a member, then sign up right now. Like get your membership, click that button. Obviously hit like and subscribe, but we'll go through all of these names. But get this. you're talking about $5, and you can grab this every single day. The global bank sell-off. I don't have to go through everything, crypto, but everything that you need as a resource is going to be right in here, and it literally costs you less than a cup of coffee every single day. That's why we give all this content free. Like, I wasn't looking at ASTS that heavily until literally saw it on the upgrades, downgrades, pull up the chart. I'm like, wait a minute, that's the same setup that MP Materials had. I should be looking at that for the short.
Yeah, so out of those upgrades and downgrades, one definitely stood out to me was Comcast, because I was just like, oh boy, this one's getting another downgrade. You can see what it's doing here on the monthly, coming all the way into some of these multi-year lows in and around 26. So right away, yeah, that's why we have that segment, because I'm just going to be like, all right, these are some of the things I might not have eyes on, and if and when this CMCSA gets all the way down here, I might want to keep it on watch. But you can see, even on a shorter time frame, we've been downtrending with a little bit of a downgrade. Does this mean that Comcast is poised for more downside potential? You can see we're already knocking on the door of, I guess, monthly lows here at 29.16s. We're trading at 29.35. It's a pretty aggressive downtrend. And again, going back to the weekly or even the monthly, you can see a bit of a head and shoulders happening here, pushing back into this multi-year support area. So maybe, you know, if you took off the time frame on this and I saw this as a day trade, I'd be like, maybe, yeah, I can take a scalp down into this level. That looks pretty decent because sellers are coming in. But yeah, in terms of a potential stronger opportunity, maybe just waiting for it to come into this this demand zone that it's been holding since about 2018, Neil. Comcast might be looking a little head and shoulder. It might be a little backside, but we know what's happening in terms of changing industries. Is this the end? I don't know, but this downgrade might be some more fuel to the fire.
Yikes.
66.88, guys. That's where we closed out yesterday on the ES December contract, with the overnight high basically being the same level, 66.72. So that's our first area of resistance. If we can't clear yesterday's close or the overnight high, that's the first level we're looking at. If we clear it, we're looking at 6,700 as the second level of resistance. If we start selling off, we're going to look to that. I don't think we're going to make it all the way down to the overnight low, which is 65.71, but we'll look at 6,600, Brendo, as our first level of support.
Happy Friday. If you haven't done so yet, make sure you grab that. Absolutely free every single day. Comes to your inbox. Link is in the description. Top link, in fact, in the description. Will get you to the sign up page. As I mentioned, then all you need is your email address. We are starting the day kind of flat, but if you missed the pre-market, you've missed a lot at this point. So let's touch on a few things. Crypto to the downside once again in a pretty big way here this morning. This slide continues, multiple day slide. Again, just to summarize what has happened, there was some banking comments made by JP Morgan. White House, among others, comes out and says banks are very well funded, not a problem as far as credit is concerned at this point. Market goes up. Trump also came out and said, as far as China is concerned, these 100% tariffs, not sustainable, quote unquote, not sustainable. Market goes right back up. So everything kind of reset at basically flat here outside of. Yeah, crypto's definitely not flat right now.
No, Brendo, it tanked yesterday. So let's talk exactly about what happened. It slid sharply on Thursday. Bitcoin dropped about more than 5.5% to an intraday low of 104,853. The total market cap dropped by 5.9%. Down to 3.64 trillion. That's the lowest level, guys, it's been since July. The decline here triggered mass liquidations exceeding $1.09 billion just in liquidations, guys. It was really led again by over-leveraged Bitcoin and Ethereum trades, which accounted for 55% of the total sell-off. So that 1.09 billion, 55% of that were leveraged products that were forced liquidated, Brendo. The sell-off stemmed from a panic in traditional finance, as you mentioned, sparked by bad loan disclosures. The risk appetite weakened severely across all markets, and as we know, whether you like it or not, crypto still looked at as a risk asset. And I hate to keep saying this, but I'm really annoyed with the correlation between the Qs and crypto. I long for the day where they're no longer correlated. Because if I want to punch into the Qs, Brendo, I'll punch into the Qs.
Yeah, it's been kind of lessening, I think, over the past couple of years, but it seems to be coming back a little bit. Real quick on Apple, new deal here announced. I'm quite disappointed in this, but Anyway, Apple and Formula One announcing a 5-year U.S. media rights deal that will bring all races to Apple TV platforms beginning next year. It's not going to move the stock. No one cares. Apple's paying about $140 million per year for F1 rights over the next 5 years. So, okay. Whether or not it'll just be a rebroadcast of the European broadcast or whether they'll set up their own team and everything.
Remember the headline?
ESPN had it. Sorry, go ahead.
Yeah, no, remember the headline we were talking about yesterday about Apple trying to get more sports rights?
Here we go.
And specifically, they were saying they're only going to pick it up if they can change the user experience. They want like unique views, interactions. Yeah. So we'll see if they actually do something with this because that's their stated goal.
Yeah, as I said, didn't really move the stock, but worth a note.
Oh, we know you care. Come on, you care, Brandon. You like F1. I think it's a theme. It's certainly a theme. Sean and I were actually talking about Apple TV's baseball, where it's like they do some things really well and the broadcast is not so great in other regards. But the more important things are expanding. But if we jump back over to crypto, because a couple people in the chat have already asked, are we bouncing crypto? Here's the, like, look at this. Look at Bitcoin right now. Like, what is everyone freaking out about? What happened the last time we took a couple steps up and then broke a prior support level? We just tested the prior breakout level and that turned into support itself. Like, this line is just drawn from here. This is not, like, to me, what are we freaking out about? So we broke this, and when we lost that support, you bounced, and then you took the stairs up, you even consolidated there, you respected this level. So if we break this, then my expectation is, why are we surprised if we see the low 90s? And even worse, if you saw like the mid 70s. But first step, you have a bottoming tail potential candle if we're able to recover. I tend to think of when you break down here, then that turns into resistance up at like 109, 110. So kind of with that in mind, like it takes a lot to get there. I don't know if we've got the juice to come in there and get to like 61 on IBIT. But I'm thinking you can get a potential bounce back into that prior support turning into resistance. If you think something's in a short-term downtrend, then you short, like support turns into resistance and vice versa, and I like to flip that script around. So that's what my thought on IBIT today is to try to find some fades. And if we get them, we get them. And in the long term, as I said, like I'll be a buyer when we get down here. It's like 91, 91.5, 92 in that range. Just it follows that structure. You just have to be patient with it. It takes months for these things to play out, but over the long run, it tends to work if you're really, really patient and just identify the key levels here on Bitcoin.
Yeah, don't forget, guys. I think you've heard this before. You take the stairs up, you take the elevator down, and we got some elevator action last week or this week as well. But yeah, Bitcoin. I think in terms of structure, you can see that it's stepping up on structure. Even if it pulls back, maybe I'm looking for prior structure to kind of get involved with. And I really like the way that Neil has his chart set up with some of those significant support and resistance levels here. But I think something more interesting in the Bitcoin scene right now is, yes, Bitcoin's taken a little bit of a pullback, but take a look at what MSTR is doing, right? MSTR is cracking structure. It's kind of looking like it's potentially taking a beeline to down into here, 240s. That's about $40 away, currently trading at 283s. And yeah, it's got a lot of room to go, and it's already broken down. This is a weekly chart, guys. This is a weekly chart. It's already started to break down here on the month, on multiple months. You can see that base on top of 360s. That's been taken out as well. And again, simply, I don't know what kind of indicators I have on here. There you go. Not many, but an anchored VWAP from those wick highs. You can see we finally kind of rejected that at that 357. So that's what I kind of have on watch. And even if you want to put like an arbitrary trend line right here, you can see that maybe it's taking a beeline all the way down into the trend. If you say that the trend has accelerated already, maybe you can go like this. That's already broken. There's just so many different ways you can look at this. But what I'm trying to point out is with Bitcoin kind of taking a little bit of a breather, pulling back in, and a lot of fear and anticipation for fresh lows on Bitcoin, maybe MSTR sees a little bit of that action as well, just into prior structure. So that's what I'm looking for. Pretty flat on the weekly chart. You can see this weekly, today's the last day of the week, about 7 hours left on this session to print. I'm curious to know how this weekly candle closes this week on MSTR. So that's what I'm looking at in the crypto sector.
All right, AMD and Micron, I was just keeping my eye on AMD here, already back to positive we're right there right now, we'll call it. We did get into positive territory. It dipped a little bit here. We'll see what happens. I mean, AMD and Micron kind of leading the way as far as the, if you want to call it semi group, is concerned here in the pre-market so far this morning. What happens, as I said earlier, what happens throughout this day could depend a lot on these.
Absolutely, Brendo. Micron's been the strongest semiconductor microchip name in the year. I think it's well over 100%. But today had a bit of an interesting headline. They want to stop selling memory chips at data centers in mainland China, following that 2023 ban on its products because it was labeled as critical infrastructure. So the Chinese don't have too many companies on the ban list, American companies on the ban list. This happens to be one of them. Despite the exit for data centers, only data centers, they're going to continue selling Chinese clients, to Chinese clients, I should say, in autos and smartphones. They employ guys, over 300 people at their China data centers. So they're still looking at getting involved some way, somehow, just not currently. And that's obviously going to buoy some of their competitors like Samsung and SK Hynix, who also deal in HBM.
Among the most active here, definitely for volume-wise, anyways, in the pre-market, guys, AMD and Micron.
Yeah, AMD looks so strong, and I get it. Let's not. We've hashed this. We talked about it yesterday. The disparity in PE and forward PE between AMD and Nvidia, and certainly AMD's gotten a little bit expensive relative to Nvidia. But if you just look at what's going on here, here's just draw out your daily chart, and this prior high, which really had a crazy wick, but let's call it like 210 to 212, was that top. What has happened this week? Oops, I went too far. We dipped, and when we challenged that level, the downside on a pullback, look at the rejection. Instantly buying when it challenged into the prior high on the daily, and then the next day, clean breakout. So like there's been two just absolute monster long days this week, Tuesday and Wednesday, and it all started with holding that 210. Now the only downside is the next step of that breakout is getting through 240. Well, guess what? We got a bit of a walk to get to 240 today. So unfortunately, you got some resistance up at the 240 level. What I do like about AMD is at least you can hold on to the Wednesday high, the Wednesday low, higher low at the 230 level. So if you can hold on to that, there's room for a long in at 240. But I didn't pull the trigger on a fail break of 240 yesterday, and I think that was a bit of a mistake, just because we're talking about both of them. Micron, 200 is such an incredibly key level right now. It's showing you how important it is. I think it's I call it like an over-under. If the opening range holds over, then you grit your teeth and go long. If it holds under, then I grit my teeth and go short, and just price action is price action, and you have a double bottom at 195. So the levels are a little bit more obvious here on Micron. It also happens to be a Friday. But that AMD is kind of where the mind goes immediately to, well, you got to respect this 240 top until it breaks. And one day we're going to take that breakout, and maybe it'll be next week. You never really know. But for today, at 230, got to be willing to play it in both directions. I was not yesterday. I will be today.
Yeah, in terms of AMD and Micron, I'm watching it. Yesterday, I had eyes on it off of the open. It attempted to push that 200 break. I like that, but kind of a straight chop off of the open. Very, very aggressive, and it finally kind of gave you that breakout much later on in the day after about 10:30. We finally break the opening range, which is no longer, the 200 is no longer the level there. It's about 202s, and that 202s gives you a high of 206 on the push. Their prior highs sitting at 201s. You can see that's coming in at from the beginning of the month here, October 6th. That was the high. We're attempting to push. The break is not over. I think bigger picture, this thing is still kind of going there pretty strong. So intraday, the breakout was not clean, but multi-day, you can see how well it's holding up above this structure that we made for over, I guess, over about, how many days is that? About 7, 8 days, 9 days. So right there, 9-day consolidation, holding above that 200. Let's see if we get that continuation. We know that AMD is looking hella strong as well. Gapping up above and into its all-time highs, now holding and consolidating with higher highs and higher lows. Pretty much every day we're making a higher low, relatively speaking, on AMD. So both these stocks looking relatively strong. I'm curious to know whether or not we print some fresh highs. We already talked about how like AMD this could be a total flip of the script on AMD because now they're finally being accepted and almost like, you know, given that stamp of approval from OpenAI being like, all right, these guys are good enough now that we're going to main some of these chips. So I think it's an interesting story that's forming, but AMD, Micron, definitely on watch. I got alerts at some of those highs. If those come in today, I definitely want to have eyes on.
All right, Oracle, another one we can take a look at this morning. Back to the upside right now. I was going to go out to a daily chart here if my chart will load, but anyway, I will refresh that. We're coming back into significant levels once again for ORCL, one that ripped yesterday late in the day.
It did, and then it sold off, as you mentioned, Brendo, in the aftermarket. So let's talk about what happened. Executives at Oracle defended profit margins in its AI cloud rental business, and then it fell 2% as long-term financial guidance kind of took focus. So you recall that the rally here yesterday was because of Oracle's pushback against a report from The Information claiming that their AI server rental margins are only 14%. Just to give you by way of comparison, when we look at competitor CoreWeave, they reported 51% gross margins. Now, Oracle clarified that their gross margins across full contract life cycles is 35%, not 14%. So disputing what was said by The Information, but also markedly lower than a competitor at 51%, Brendo. So, you know, that 2030 revenue guidance, we kind of chuckled a little bit about that because it's so down the road, but they reaffirmed it again yesterday.
Yeah, so good luck for Oracle. I'm going to talk about Microsoft a little bit here, or Windows specifically. So Windows forced this computer that I use at this desk, and Adara uses as well throughout the day, to upgrade from Windows 10 to Windows 11 yesterday. It just hasn't been the same since, so I may have to restart my computer, guys.
Fail. Gotta do those restarts overnight, son. No, just it happens. Annoying when it does, but hey, we're live. That's how you go. Oracle has the same setup as a lot of other things today. Where, and this, well, maybe it's a little different. Like, since it had the crazy, and we know the guidance and the target that they put on their back with this gigantic guide, and maybe a little bit of pushback coming from that, certainly, and starting to taper off because it's all reliant on OpenAI. But that lower highs have been put in very cleanly. Like, it's got a trend off of this top. The good news is, hey, it's an upward trending stock where if it breaks that trend line, then technically it's great. And then you're looking at a big time breakup, but that's on the daily chart. For now, I think any false break of 310, you're looking in the other direction because it's been putting in those weak highs. So and I have a lot of other things on the list that look like that. Like if that were to happen, then probably AMD 240s come into play. ASTS has a similar setup that I was showing you guys earlier. So that you can't do all of them that have that same, if we pop and lose this price at in the first like 10, 20 minutes, I'm shorting this level. Well, you can't do them all, otherwise you're just gonna, you're asking for it, because if they all break out, then you're just getting screwed like 5 times instead of twice. So I'll probably stay away from that trade, but that's the setup that it looks like to me, where wick highs through like 310 should be reverted. And then if it closes underneath here, I think you're just one more day, another day of this trend line proving itself. Great if it breaks out, but until it happens, I think you're fading those spots.
Yeah, I think the Oracle bigger picture, the way it's setting up now, I have a lot of things on my chart here, but a couple of indicators I do want to point out. These horizontals, like they were great day 1, day 2, day 3, but I think it's pretty, you know, maybe keeping an eye out there for that. But an anchored VWAP from the initial event, you saw that aggressive push up, nice little pullback. We got an anchored VWAP from prior here as well. I don't know how far back that one is, but regardless, that's where kind of the bid steps in on the catalyst as well. Interesting how some of these things happen, but we'll leave the tinfoil suit out of this one. But you can see how we pulled back in, made a bit of a low here, and I haven't anchored at that low because strong volume drop intraday picks right back up, right? And then now we're kind of holding and consolidating. Not only that, this bigger picture downtrend that we've been making, we've broken that and now start consolidating sideways. So yesterday we attempted to push pretty aggressively intraday. I don't know what this was, but a little bit of an intraday maybe move. on potential catalysts, we attempt to push. We got 322s, and we're still holding on the drop back in. So I'm watching this consolidation. This is looking interesting. It seems like anything right now is trying to push a little bit higher with that little bit of catalyst we got yesterday with the bid stepping up. It seems like to me it's trying to push higher. Let's see if it actually can. And I'm watching some of these prior days levels as well. If it can get above that closing price, which we're trying to in the pre-market right now, I think that could be interesting. But if we fail as well, I think definitely watching some of this trend, some of these trends as well on Oracle. Sideways consolidation though, Neil, it's holding up quite well from that initial catalyst just at the beginning of September on that OpenAI bid on Oracle.
Yeah, and I see this in Ronnie's. Oh, wait a minute. Shoot, I just put the other one up there. I don't know if there was a second super chat, but this is from Adam Jones here. Big deal, money up front this morning, sizable market cap increase with potential for deal to be up to $1 billion. A 30 million float, though. Yeah, that 30 million float, it's done 100 million shares. They've run it multiple times. This does fit the bill. I know Sharif will be looking at this 100% because it's a gapper that's doing volume and it's above the volume weighted average price. And it's shown you strength above VWAP and it's been able to break out that high. Just keep in mind, you lose VWAP early and things can get very, very nasty. Coot the other day, like 2 days ago, try that one off VWAP and it just trended down when it couldn't hold it. So I would not fight this if it loses the volume weighted average price. Remember we had Luis on yesterday, remember what he says. You do not want to get caught on the back end of these when they are not showing upward structure, because then you're just fighting it. They short those, and they do very well when they make that play. So looking at that 125, now obviously if it breaks VWAP, there's the dollar level for just that psychological support, but I'd be looking at that 120 off the open. Ronnie, it's very, very clearly got a 160 kind of bag holder level, and if you zoom out, like 190. So there's a little bit of room to go from here, but certainly if it gets to VWAP, that does give you a good trade, risk to reward at least.
All right, bank trouble, question mark, possibly not. White House comes out this morning, essentially says banks are quote unquote well-funded, and this is really a non-issue type of issue, but that's a daily chart on XLF, just to highlight what happened on the daily time frame yesterday. We are now back to basically, I mean, this is green, but some of the individual names basically flat on the morning. But if you're looking at anything banking related, you're going to see a huge gap to the downside and then a retracement back higher. And this comes back to JP Morgan once again.
Absolutely, Brendo. Again, Jamie Dimon, the CEO, making very interesting comments saying, if there's one cockroach, referring, of course, to the bankruptcy related to Jeffries, there may be others. And yesterday we saw that, there was more than meets the eye after Zions Bank Corporation and Western Alliance disclosed bad loans, which reignited a worry about risky U.S. lending practices. You had the KRE, which is the regional banking ETF, drop 6% with only one component of the ETF actually finishing in the green. Zions, for their part, they dropped 13%. Western Alliance, Brendo, 10%. You guys get the point here. But analysts coming out and saying, look, there's no evidence of, institutional problems, much in the same way that we had during the great financial crisis. And let's just be even more pragmatic about it, Brendo. If one or two of these small regional banks actually is in trouble, like what we saw in 2023, March 2023, bigger banks, much more liquid banks like your JPs, your Morgans, they will buy these companies, they'll absorb them, and they'll take some of their clients and kind of reshore their balance sheet.
Which is also what he might be pointing to or thinking of at this point. ZION, like some of the better ideas or possibly potential opportunities might come from some of the smaller ones. Here's ZION right now, up way more than anything else at this point, guys.
Yeah, I'm probably just going to look at KRE itself today. And I think that's what I put in my note. But right before we get to that, the early look on the imbalances, it's 9:20, so I mean, these will firm up pretty quickly. We have 7 minutes till the open. They're all sell side with a few tiny exceptions, BITB and BTC, but mostly small sell imbalances, which is kind of indicative of what the morning has felt like outside of a little bit of rally here in the future. But as far as KRE goes, you lost the 200 period moving average and went right into what will be like that last ditch support level. So on a bounce here, I'm just sort of squarely looking back at support to turn into resistance for KRE. And it's in and around that supply zone of 60. I think if it gets over, then you can confirm the relief rally and all that good stuff. And, congratulations if you happen to get the bottom here. but we've seen afternoon or late morning flushes pretty much every single day this week, and I'd be inclined to at least want to go to the well in the place where most of the concern is and take a shot there. So I have KRE on the mind. This is why I'm not looking at that Oracle as an example. Just too many other things to be looking at currently. So you have to sort of parse it down. You can pick individual names if you like, but I've traded KRE before and haven't traded many of the other regionals personally. So this is the one I'll be looking at. Bit of a spread, but it's starting to tighten up. So I think as the open comes, trade just like a regular stock.
Yeah, I think KRE is the one to watch. I think I definitely agree with Neil there. Strong volume yesterday, I guess, on those fears. You can see some extended bars there at the bottom of the chart. But in the pre-market session, man, we've already recovered about 50%. So we've reverted about 50% back into some of these prior levels here. Now the question becomes, we had sellers on Wednesday. We had sellers on Thursday. Coming into today, after about a 50% reversion of yesterday's price action, which was the most selling that kind of happened over the past couple of days, do sellers step back in? That's the question, right? I think bigger picture, we've made a high at 67s. We're kind of making a lower lows and lower highs since about the beginning of September-ish, and we're starting to curl a little bit lower here as well. So just bigger picture, if we are to kind of drop 56, we're already bouncing off of that, but just going down to the hourly, you can see here, yeah, we're kind of looking like it's rolling over. Let's see if there is follow through, and just to reiterate, sellers for the past 2 days, let's see if we see more of the same if they do step in today. I'm going to be watching VWAP, and I'm going to be watching maybe this little consolidation from prior day just above that $60 level as well.
Right, Meta, the last one on the list here this morning. We'll wrap up quickly. Still 5-6 minutes to go here before the open. If you zoom out on Meta as well, I mean, yeah, it's a $700+ stock, but huge levels coming back into play here. It's been consolidating over the last week and a half, week or so, around this 715, 720 area, holding up better than most here, I think, as far as tech is concerned.
Absolutely, Brendo, and it's another big check that's going to be written by Meta here with respect to data centers. So let's talk about this. Meta's finalizing a $30 billion financing package for its Hyperon data center that's going to be in rural Louisiana. It's a large private capital deal, the largest, I should say, on record, according to Bloomberg, of course. The financing includes about $27 billion in debt and about $2.5 billion in equity. It's structured again, guys, through this new vehicle we've been talking about, a special purpose vehicle led by Morgan Stanley. So they're going to own the site, not Meta. Meta is not borrowing directly. Instead, of course, it's using this SPV to handle the debt while Meta acts as the developer, operator, and tenant. Completion is expected in 23. They're also going to be in cahoots with Blue Owl Capital, which actually owns the real estate site. And just a day earlier, Brendo, Meta already announced another $1.5 billion investment in El Paso, Texas for a data center that's 29th globally.
Zuck has all the cash, that's for sure. Whether or not it'll equate to an opportunity today remains to be seen. However, we are just teetering on positive territory once again here from Meta, guys.
I was just saying though, I don't know that you do anything with this unless you're trying to get like a trade back through 700. Like, and it did that on, I guess it's Tuesday? Yeah, it's Tuesday. Where it breaks 700, and if you just take it back through 700, you end up getting like 10, 15 bucks, which even on Meta is not that great. It's because it's a $700 stock. So this one feels like a little bit of a pass. I know you're looking at Alphabet more likely than, I'm just making a guess out there because that's what you were talking about, than Meta. And if you look at just maybe a stronger stock in the Mag 7, like upward trending, so if a similar dip buy came in, you'd be pulling into a prior resistance, like 247. It's already bounced there. So I'd be more inclined to be there. But for myself, you've already seen, like I kind of had these pop and fade ideas going on here. And whether it's at ASTS, which I like to call ASTS, if you hear me say ASTS, you know I mean ASTS, AMD 240, and obviously we talked a little bit about IBIT and KRE as well. So I don't know if I'll be looking at Meta or Google myself.
Yeah, no, I think Meta, Neil pointed out this level here where we keep on bouncing off of 690, 690. So yeah, I'm watching that consolidation a little bit here as well. But bigger picture, bit of a downtrend, pulling back off of that 800 push. But interestingly enough, Neil, it's holding up on top of some an old anchor I have here from the beginning of the year. You can see from all of these dip lows that we had in April, that bid that did give us a strong push all the way towards all-time highs on some stocks as well. So we're coming down into those levels, and that's where we're finding the bid here. So that's interesting to me. This is an anchor that's pinned to one of these lows, the most recent one of these lows down at 480. And the first time we pull back into these, into that average there, you can see how strong the buying keeps on lifting it up. But Gotta notice that we're making lower highs into this level. So yeah, interesting area that Meta's in as of right now. Strong question mark is very, very valid. I think if it holds these wick lows, I think it could be very, very interesting. But Neil, we only got about 30 seconds here, man.
Less than 30 seconds to go. Final bell before the open. Don't forget there's that small capper RANI, which is rolling around. Mostly selling bounces, but nothing really stood out on the bounce. I know it's a third Friday, but notice you don't see anything significant over 1 million shares. So as we drop this countdown for the final time this week, everybody, and get this party started, I'm going to first have ASTS open because I think that could maybe move the most right away off of the bat, but you absolutely never know. So just be a little bit nimble. Be patient, everybody. Is the market's trying to catch a little bit of a bid. Okay, maybe KRE is trying to go. No, KRE heading immediately to the downside, so no pop and fade there. Advanced money destroyer or advanced money doubler for most days this week. Not doing much. Right off the open, holding VWAP, kind of going to the downside a little bit, but nothing too crazy just yet. So not into anything. And I said maybe be patient, especially when we come to me, the third Friday. I always want to be a little more patient off the open. Here comes ASTS. See if that one can get and maybe press into the high 80s and 90s. That's the fade zone that I was talking about.
Yeah, I think I'm watching some AMD here, AMD with a little bit of a pullback, watching some CRML as well. Market's pulling back in, so we did have a bit of a top there at 24,800. So I'm watching that, being patient, right? Being patient, waiting for things to just kind of fall into my lap. I think that's been working pretty well for me as of recent. Prax, that's the one that's going right now. I know PRAX on a lot of people's radars. That high from yesterday is at 206, and oh boy, that thing is blasting off to the races. 195.20 is currently on PRAX, so that thing is going absolutely nuts, man. Okay, you know what? Now I gotta pull it up. I was trying to avoid putting it on my main screen because I was like, sometimes I get pulled into some of these crazy movers there. There goes Caramel looking a little sweet to the upside there, but let's take a quick look at this Prax and see what's going on here. I know a lot of people are buzzing about it in the chat as well. So we'll go straight up to the 3-minute chart and see what it does in and around that 206 from yesterday. I'm pretty sure I need borrows for this one. I did not get borrows, but that's, again, still very much front side on this and coming into some of those fresh highs. Is this almost halting? Maybe, potentially. I think it's coming into those areas where, yeah, this can potentially halt even before that 206 mark here as of right now. So 206 is potentially incoming. 203 is currently on Prax. Oh boy. That thing is blasting to the upside. Now, Oracle going the other way. Oracle is getting sold off here, back below that 300 mark on Oracle. So we'll visit this one in a second here. Oracle pulling back in pretty aggressively. So sellers from yesterday, after hours, maybe potentially stepping right back in to some of these lows. But we pointed out, we did kind of break that downtrend, and we're consolidating sideways. So the question becomes, if the buyers are still there on Oracle, when and where will they show up? But buyers, oh boy, definitely here on Caramel and Prax as well. Let's see what else is going on. AMD chopping sideways. I know a lot of people were looking at the in vivo.
It's rejecting fertility. Specifically 234 on AMD.
Is that a key level for you?
100% it's a key level.
All right.
234 was support from yesterday, and it's chopped it around in the pre-market. So that doesn't necessarily matter because that's just the pre-market. But right off the open, I've already seen on the tape a couple of times 234 has been rejected. It looks like ASTS is not really moving as much as I thought ASTS was going to go. But AMD, this fade off 241. If we don't get to 240, that's the only I mean, that's the only other key level out there. So if I'm looking for any kind of a short underneath, make sure I have a stop to protect and see if I can't, the next time it pops up, get something in the high 30s and see if we can't get our first one on of the day. So just want to respect that structure. And IBIT not really doing much of anything, but keep in mind, we've seen this before where it's a little bit of chop fest and a little bit of lack of direction early, and you're just waiting to pounce on something. I've seen nothing really go. Apple's trying to break out a little bit here, Obi, and as you said, maybe Oracle's moving, and that RANI, whatever we're calling it, bounced clean off the volume weighted average price and headed to the upside. Hey, maybe it just has to be a small capper day. See,
yes,
like
sir.
That's the thing. I'm looking for one of these big caps to actually make a move, and it's RANI clean off the volume weighted average price and already heading into 150.
Yeah, so I'm watching this GLD here as well, a little bit below 195. Nice, 395. Let's see if it can crack a little bit lower here. Pre-market lows at 394. 15s, but I'm going to give it a little bit of room here, maybe some time. CRML is ripping to the upside, so it seems like some of these rare earths might be catching a little bit of a bid here. So MP, let's take a quick look at some of these guys here. Maybe looking for sellers into some prior levels if we are going to catch a strong bid here as of right now. Okay, so GLD is popping back up. That's okay. I'm fine with that stopping me out for now. TMC, let's take a quick look at that one here, the metals company. Okay, not as strong, but that may be potentially finding some levels here. What's going on?
Like that whole thing, so the other day you were talking about AMD swiping. Yep. All over the place.
Oh, yeah.
They just did exactly the same thing. I got first fill at 233.50, and then they swiped to VWAP, got everything out because I was just sitting there, and it swiped everything. Then it came back, did not get filled on the offer again, which I'm going to try and do because it looks like it's just kind of bouncing back and forth between 232.5, which is VWAP, and 234. So it's giving you that back and forth. That smells so good. Sharif got his food there. So I'm going to play this 234 again and try to respect the range because it's not really breaking out of it. So short in front of that 34 seller and see where we can get that to go. The Nasdaq is trying to break out. So there is upside movement here in the market as it's trying to go. So I want to be respectful of that. This is Nvidia breaking out as AMD. It worked. So 1 for 1. But just keep in mind, the Nasdaq is trying to go here. So you got to be a bit careful. I don't want this breaking out that 234 on me.
Yeah, so Neil, that gold came in so hot. So we were talking about 395s. Where is it? As you were talking, this thing slammed down to 392s. So for almost $3 instantly to the ground. I'm just like, oh boy, you know what? Okay, damn. I was posted a little too much. I'm like, no, it's coming back down. I go to cancel my posts, and those get filled. So all right, cool. We have what we have, which is now absolutely nothing. Oh my God! All right, so that's that there. Let's see, where is the next trade potentially? CRML maybe a little bit for poised for a bit of a pullback here. So let's take a quick look at this one. Maybe take a stab at that and see if that potentially comes in. That's the first sign of a little bit of selling coming in here on CRML after some strong push. $18 all the way to 22s. All right, buddy, let's see how much further you can do. If we are actually squeezing, now this thing can continue to go, right? So I got eyes on watching it, but that gold came in so hot and so fast. I was not expecting that at all. Absolutely crazy here. Let's see if CRML can give us something similar with a little bit of, caramel with the sweetness, man. Let's see if we can pull back into some of these moving averages, maybe the VWAP as well. But if it's going to come in pretty nicely,
as this is
back
finally
down to
taking
VWAP,
off here.
that 19.5 is also pre-market highs as of right now.
CRML is not actually caramel. It is, well, okay, fine. Critical metals, we can call. And ASTS is, of course, not Astis. We just talk that way sometimes, AST Space Mobile. It is trying to take off, and I'm trying to be very, very patient about this to try to get back into this high 80s and wait for it to make that top. Like, don't want to catch that runaway freight train, but the second we start getting back into the highs, then I want to try to respect it. So we'll see if we're able to get this one. I have it up on a secondary. AMD just popped right back into that resistance, so it's still swiping up and down here from that 232 range into the 234. Let's go over to the desk. First update from Adara of the morning.
Nothing major, but I'm just seeing a comment coming from House Minority Leader Hakeem Jeffries. basically saying that the House and Senate Democrats continue to hold firm. I bring this up because this implies that we're unlikely to get immediate resolution here when it comes to the government shutdown. I also want to let you guys know, too, no economic data at 9:45 or 10 a.m., as has been standard with the shutdown. But Fed's Muslim speaking at 12:15. That's really the only economic event of note to be aware of today, guys, as we head into the first 10 minutes of this trading session. Back to you.
I am the liquidity.
I am the liquidity. I will provide the liquidity. That's what I like to say.
Oh, my bad. I got it wrong. I messed up Obi's quote. I will provide the liquidity says. Yes. Well, hopefully the liquidity is to the downside for now and we head back down because like AMD's trying. It's louder. It's louder than it usually is. Just throw that out there. Usually it's not quite that loud, but resistance still holding at that 234 to the downside. I got to go back over. And again, I'm just watching the names that I'm focused on here. ASTS showing the first signs of curl. You guys saw that candle. Someone just swiped the bid heavy on ASTS. Let's see if I can finagle my way in at 87 and not swipe all the way down like that. Like this person just swiped all the way down like almost a full dollar to get the short through 87, but that pre-market high looking like it's being respected. AMD curling, the market's also curling, but I want to get into ASTS before it is too late, and I don't want to have to chase it, everybody. ASTS is not a trade, says GoAC. Hey, to each their own. You've got to trade your strategy, right? Like maybe some people think AMD's a long. Perfectly respect anybody that wants to disagree. AMD, my target is 230. I believe we mentioned that in the pre-market. I think 230 is a support level, so you know how I roll. If I can get 33 half into 230, then I'll be more than happy with that trade. So far, we've had more or less of an opening kind of range-bound trade here, Obi. But if you can pick your spots, I think you do just fine.
Oh yeah, definitely. Picking spots is you got to be precise, right? That's what matters here. Okay, so maybe some selling coming in now on Caramel there, as we rip all the way up to 22s and then slam all the way back down. I'm like, all right, well, maybe I could have had better prices at 22s, but you know what? I got to pull up some other charts on this and make sure I'm watching the right kind of stuff. So, because if this starts to consolidate, we could very well go right back to those 22.33 highs on CRML. But where is a VWAP right here? 1984s. On at VWAP right here, so that's a little bit lower than the P8 VWAP I have here, which is sitting at $20.28. So let's see. Sometimes you have multiple indicators. Sometimes they're giving you different kind of prices. But at the end of the day, you got to remember it's just an arbitrary line on the chart. I like what I forget what the username was in the chat. Called it ACA, arbitrary chart art. And that's what I'm going to start calling indicators from now on, because that's exactly what they are, arbitrary chart art.
Well, the chart art's starting to head to the downside.
The chart art is definitely starting to head a little bit down.
Well, apparently, Astis wasn't a trade, but it did just get to VWAP. They're 87 to 85. Like I said, I didn't get it. I was trying not to chase that move down because, I mean, ultimately, it's a different trade if you have to short it at 86 with risk to the high than if you're shorting it up there at 87. AMD goes right to target. So it goes right down into that 230. It bounced at 230 and a half. So that's the opening range. And I thought it's going to be a choppy morning because it is Friday. So the play of action is there's key level, there's VWAP, trade only where it matters. So if it gets to your level, you short it, and then you take it out only at the levels that matter. So when it breaks down, wait for it to get to 230. I'm looking for what the next trade's gonna be at this point. Don't need to rush into anything. AMD was already pretty good. And oh goodness, we did not. Well, I did not. Didn't say we. I did not go back over to KRE. Lost the bid at the open and still trying to recover. So all of that work that was done in the pre-market starting to unwind here in KRE. I thought maybe we'd get up some of those highs in the 60s. But if the trend is going to be down today on the regional banks, then I want to respect the volume weighted average price. I want to respect the trend. So it's already shown me failure at VWAP. I guess I'm semi-chasing here. I'll just give it to the volume-weighted average price. Kind of a tight stop, but it's not trading exactly where I wanted it to in the first place.
Yeah, VWAP's always an interesting area, and I'm starting to use it a little bit differently. Because I really like anchored VWAP. You see me using it a lot. Shout out to Mr. Brian Shannon once again, but I think it's absolutely solid. It depends on how you use these indicators, right? I always use the analogy of, it's funny enough, like as much as I talk about, you know, university being a great business and nothing more, but it's kind of like the classroom setting, right? I always see it like the classroom setting. Everyone has the same textbook. Everyone has the same learning material.
Do they though?
We all see the same charts. We all look at the same tape. We all have similar books, right? If you have the market data. But the thing is, everybody gets a different grade. Your ability to interpret information is different. It's going to be unique, right? And your ability to process and really kind of understand it is going to be a little bit different as well. But
I don't know what textbook you have, but you got to get that, like the magic textbut. You know, the one with all the answers in it?
Oh, that one? Yeah. Here's the thing. I usually was the guy who was scribbling in my textbook anyway. So, that's how I like to take a look at it. And it's always interesting to see how other people view indicators and how other people view price action and how they read it and what their interpretation of it is. I always find that very educational and informative as well. There's VWAP. There's the first P8 VWAP here on KRML. Let's see if I can get down to the other one as well. 1996 is that sweet spot of that other VWAP I got going on. That's one from my trading view here, just below that $20. So just giving you that area, 19.5s is that pre-market area as well. So we'll keep an eye out on both of those levels. Maybe post some down there as well. Maybe I don't know, but this thing is kind of choppy, right? VWAP could be the place where players step right back in, or it could be the place where I want to reassess and look for a potential continuation back down through that VWAP, because the bigger picture, we've been kind of holding. We hold to some prior days levels as well in and around there. So yeah, maybe. I have no idea though, but that worked out. Where is the next trade? That's what I'm asking. Market falling?
The market is, I don't know if tanking is the word. BP in the chat. Hopefully you have enough buying power for all of your trades, BP. But the market is not, it's not tanking, I wouldn't say, but we are falling down pretty decently after a lot of work was done when the president kind of said things aren't as bad in China as they seem and the tariffs are unsustainable and a lot of that other stuff. Just jumping right back over. AMD really did not bounce off 230 and is continuing. Am I still offering at 234? Yeah, I didn't get everything in front of 234, but there's no need to leave that offer out there, because then the worst thing that can happen is I forget that it's there like hours later and you get a fill that you don't want. But what is going as well is Micron. Micron fails 200. As far as I'm, like, if Micron's under 200, then it's a short. Set at the opening range, can't break that price out, then I'm going to short that one back into the volume weighted average price. So I'm in KRE, but I do want to get one of the chip names back and take a second salvo if it's going to be AMD or Nvidia. We'll see. On any other day, I'd be saying the market is cratering. I don't think I say cratering very often. I don't know. I feel like
that's a bit of a stretch.
No, like you have to be, you got to be down well over 1% for it to be that bad, in my opinion. But that's just to each their own. I can tell you one thing that is making extreme moves any way you cut it, and that's that Ronnie stock, RANI. Like 150 to 120, it just lost VWAP. We've seen this story before, like, hey, small cap stock loses the volume weighted average price and then turns into a short for the rest of the day. So just be very careful with this. I know when it's under VWAP, Sharif doesn't like these, and I tend to be the same way. If it's not going to be able to hold the volume weighted average price, then I don't want to participate in that short. In the long at all. But if it's under VWAP and I like the short, then I take it. Like I'm going to be into KRE here. So working into KRE, still waiting for that opportunity, maybe to short a pop in Micron as well.
Yeah, so I'm kind of watching this consolidation here on KRML and see if that kind of holds. It's holding that VWAP pretty decently as of right now, but I want to give it some couple of minutes here as it consolidates, kind of works in and around that VWAP. If it comes back into the highs, that's perfectly fine as well. Gold caught a little bit of a bounce. That was nice. I accidentally flipped long because I overfilled on the longs, and I punched out on 393s, but it seems like that did come in pretty nicely. Good reasons to buy, but that VWAP is continuing to maybe look like it's a bit heavy underneath that 395 as well. So I got eyes on, I'm watching, I'm being patient, I'm trying to be as nimble as possible here. Caramel back to 21, so if that comes in and stops me out, that's perfectly fine as well. Where's the next trade? That's what I'm looking for. But guys, exciting news for Canadian sophisticated traders.
What would that be?
Beta Pro by Global X Canada has just launched 6 new triple levered ETFs, offering 3 times bull and bear exposure to the S&P TSX 60, semiconductors, US Treasuries, and even better, they're offering a special fee rebate, dropping management fees to just 65 basis points until December 31st of this year, 2025. These ETFs also employ currency hedging to seek to neutralize US dollar exposure, providing performance that may more accurately reflect the underlying US equity indices. If you are a tactical, sophisticated trader looking to amplify your performance, check out betapro.ca/3xdaily to learn some more. Oh boy, so Caramel coming in and stopping me out, that's okay.
The market's trying to take a bit of a turn here.
Yeah, there's a turn. So
I think that's why you stay in scout mode. So look, KRE broke that volume weighted average price, so you have to wait, or I have to wait. Anyone can do whatever they want to do. I have to wait for it to get to the next resistance spot, or maybe confirm that we still have the resistance underneath that volume weighted average price. Micron just came in. AMD, good out at the bottom, because AMD is right back above that 230 level. Micron, the 200 is the key spot for myself, so jump in at VWAP. Hey, 88.88. I don't even think I did that intentionally, to be honest with you. But I'm in at 88.88 anyways, as the market tries to go. We are at resistance on the Qs, however. Let me flip back over to show you guys, or I can just put the black chart. Forget about the Qs, I'll show you on the Nasdaq, same levels. We wicked the top. It was already resistance at 24.8. Bigger level incoming at 25, but 24.8 going to be that first stop. So Micron want to wait till that 200 level to make a definitive decision if we break out from there. I'm willing to be long on Micron, but if you ever hear me say over or under, it just sort of means if there's structure for a trade, like fail break there, short into it, or if it breaks out long and puts in higher lows above that price, I'd go long. If it puts in lower highs under, I go short. I try to keep it that simple at a price like a $200 level. So my eyeballs are in the same places, KRE, AMD, Micron, maybe a little bit of that Ronnie if it can get going, but yeah, Ronnie it's struggling here at the volume weighted average price. I don't know if this is gonna be one, unfortunately. It's not looking as strong as it was in the pre-market. Sometimes the pre-market is your best shot for these, but I'll still have it up there in case it starts to show a bit more of a bid.
Yeah, sometimes like, we talk about pre-market having some of the best opportunities and some of the best competitive prices may not last very long, and you can see that happen in the pre-market very often here. So yeah, watching that gold hold that VWAP is looking very interesting to me. I might want to dabble in a little bit of that piece there. If we can hold structure and hold a little bit lower, maybe a little bit of a pullback as well on this name. Let me know in the chat what you guys are watching, because I'm curious to know. Tesla high a day saying Sharif, thank you very much. So that's potentially coming in as of right now, 430.60s on Tesla. So good call out there. Thank you, Sharif. Nvidia as well coming into high a day. So Tesla and Nvidia out of the megs.
Wow, Tesla.
Very, very strong and definitely pulling the market up a little bit higher.
Are you watching Google, Obi?
I am watching Google. Google is a little bit down. Yeah, a little bit weak there. So those sellers from yesterday, I guess they stepped right back in the morning today. So yeah, interesting look there on Google. I was looking for a potential interaction of that.
I got to remind everybody
we're doing that right now.
I see everyone putting your symbols in. It's great that everyone's chatting and throwing the symbols that they want in the chat, but just remember, type $sign and then whatever it is that you're interested in. Like Tesla, make sure you do $TSLA like I'm doing right now, so that you'll be able to, it should show up somewhere. I just did Tesla. There you go. Tesla shows up, and then you can see as all these symbols come in, Ronnie, AMD, Tesla. Haven't looked at Tesla till just now. Ronnie we have, AMD have, SoFi, Lays, both of them are going to be of interest. But what the heck? I was just on Tesla. We'll be able to revisit that throughout the day so that we're paying attention to not just what I'm interested in trading in, but we're always interested in trading in, but what you guys are interested in. And Tesla, on no particular catalyst, seems to want to go. It's Friday. Maybe the catalyst is Friday and it's Tesla, which is fair. I think that's perfectly fine. Yeah. Why not? But remember what Tesla did yesterday at the 440s. So congratulations if you got it. 440's been an absolute brick wall lately on Tesla, which at least I would be respecting. But, you know, like that's me. Like everyone can sort of do their own thing. You get to 440, I would tend to think fade, but I do like this. Anytime you bounce off 420, who doesn't like that? Only a hater wouldn't like the 420 support level.
I mean, if you're not bouncing and getting high off of the 420, what are you really doing? Isn't that the case? I thought that was, I mean, I know I talk about supply-demand mechanics and price action.
It's not bad.
420 might just go down in the books.
420 is a thing because people make it a thing.
Yeah, of course.
It doesn't...
Like, just like everything else. Literally just like everything else.
I would
It's a self-fulfilling prophecy. Right? It's like... The dollar is only the gold standard because everyone agrees on it.
And the second they don't, oh, good.
Oh boy.
Oh boy.
I don't know if that's going to happen anytime soon.
AMD might be a long.
Everyone loves their dollars.
The market is going. AMD might be a long.
Our market is absolutely blasting.
Where's Nvidia? Because I'm getting out of Micron and I'm thinking I should be flipping at this point because that looks like a bear trap. Oh, someone just said that too. Who said that in the chat? I can't. Gayu? I saw it flip really, really quickly as I was starting to think the same thing. When you have wick bottoms right off of the open and then V-shape recovery, a lot of times you're starting to think breakout above that top. So I'm wondering what's setting up like that particularly. Also, Ozan says, I disagree with people making a thing. For 420, these are clean GEX levels. What? Sure. I mean, I don't know. You know better than me. I just see it this way. If it lines up on a chart and it's at a price that people think is cool or significant, like $100 or 420, it just maybe gives you one other reason to like to trade. Maybe it's a thing, maybe it's not a thing. It ultimately doesn't matter. But if the price action supports the level for like 3 days in a row, and it happens to be 420, then maybe you like it a little bit more, right?
If the chart is telling me, then like, who am I not to listen?
And it's Tesla. You think Tesla traders don't look at levels like 420 and 69? And I'm just saying. Come on. I'm just saying.
I mean, I'm not even gonna lie. Sometimes when I see it coming in, I'll just hit that number even harder just for the lows. Because I might be price ignorant in that momentum, and I'll be like, oh, I'm just gonna hit that 69, nice, or hit that 420, and see if we can get a little bit higher, right?
No,
it's just like so.
No,
that's what I'm talking about. Sometimes, yeah, it does kind of implement, and maybe it has to do with the generation as well, right? But I don't know. It's interesting. Market lore is always interesting and fun.
Something
to talk
going on
about
with Intel
as well. What's going on with Intel here?
Intel on a spike. I was listening to you at the same time that I heard it. So unfortunately,
whenever you say Intel, it definitely perks my interest there. Yeah, Intel's blasting. So is Nvidia. SMH is pushing to the upside. Micron is pushing day highs right here. AMD not yet. SMCI is going, and ARM about a 50% reversion of the downtrend that it's had. There goes the Nasdaq and the ES. Oh boy.
Okay,
question comes, do we hit that 25 once again on the Nasdaq?
The story here for Intel is it's Intel Foundry, and this is speculation from Semi-Accurate, which is a publication. Semi-Accurate saying Intel Foundry has a large AI client for, I can't even read that, 18A. So, okay, we'll see. I mean, a large foundry client is exactly the headline that Intel has been, like that's what they need. Like the foundry business has needed a large client. We'll see if we can get an update there from Adara for more specifics. Intel breaking through high today as we speak.
So Semi-Accurate, if you guys aren't familiar, kind of how it works is almost sort of like a gossip column. Like the individual who writes it will tease something out, but then not actually tell you what it is. So they're saying, let's put this to bed once and for all. Intel has at least one volume foundry customer for their 18A/AP process. Semi-Accurate thinks there are more, but we can finally name this one AI player. They don't actually name it. I'm guessing this might be for subscribers. But then the article ends with since this is just a name with a little analysis, nothing above the fold story. So this seems really speculative. And the story is from semi-accurate as well. That's not me adding that. So this is really speculative here for INTC. Back to you.
Well, I mean, price action is price action, and it is absolutely flying. If it wasn't on your watch list now, before it kind of has to be now. That's just how the market works. So you, in real time, try to do some work on Intel. I wasn't even looking at this stock this morning, and all of a sudden, I'll keep my eyes on AMD because, like, so far that has been, like, AMD's just been a good stock all week, pretty much every single day that it's been traded. But Intel, I don't like this breakout after $1.50 on speculation on Intel. A breakout at 38 doesn't seem like the way to go. So how about 37, like right in here? Prior close, 37 quarter looks like a bit of a spot. Rather just try to play some dips with the news until it gets to the 38 level. It's still good news, man. It's still good news, even if it is just speculation at this point. We've seen this before with Intel. It draws your attention, and half the time it falls through. The other half it doesn't. The way I see it is if you can find a good entry point, I'd rather play the trend than try to fade this thing.
Yeah, I'm watching this this GLD just holding on VWAP right now. The market is strong as well. At the same time, I'm still in this CRML, just kind of teetering in and around that 21. So we did pop up. We made a lower high. We're technically kind of making a higher low here as well after a strong bid. So kind of flat on top of that 21s as of right now. So nothing too crazy. Let's wait and see what potentially comes in. Wow, there goes GLD after holding that VWAP pretty nicely there. That 395 we could not trade above that for now, and we're pulling back into 393. So are we poised for day lows? Maybe. You're saying that
silver is also fading hard.
Silver fading, yeah. We know that one's been kind of moving around as well. So we can keep an eye on that one there. Yeah, this is a 395 hold. It was very, very nice. I think I just had to continue taking the same kind of idea, the same kind of trade as it showed me that, yeah, sellers might be in charge here on the day today after a strong kind of a run up there. So, yeah, GLD is looking pretty nice. What else are you guys talking about? SoFi. Okay, we can take a quick look at SoFi as well. Let me pull up the chart here on SoFi. Let's see what our friend SoFi is up to. So far, SoFi, because it's just trading in its opening range right here, 26 to 27s right here. So nothing too crazy. Strong selling yesterday, gap down, reversion back into prior day's closing prices, and now just chop, 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 chop. So maybe the question is it leg consolidation? Leg, no idea, but that's a good look on SoFi as well. Palantir is saying Roberta's. Palantir, okay, all right, some relative volume in the pre-market session, holding that 175. I love psychological levels, especially when the market shows me that this could respect in the pre-market, a little bit of a resistance, in the open session, a little bit of a support. So interesting look there on that 175. Let's see what's happening now with Adara.
Now let's take a look here at this market. Here is the Nasdaq. We did have a nice little push at the open, and we recovered quite nicely from this gap down during the pre-market as well. So there's been quite a lot of commentary from the Trump administration, including President Trump himself, that kind of shows a bit of a softening maybe on this hardline stance in China we've seen, especially within the last week. Trump, during an interview with Fox Business Network, was asked this morning if the high China tariffs are going to stand. He said no, and that he also believes these tariffs are unsustainable, and he's still going to be meeting with Xi in 2 weeks. Then about maybe half an hour after that, Kevin Hassett on the same network doing an interview saying that the U.S. is not in a trade war with China and that he believes that they can get back to a place that is good for both countries. And last but not least, we have CNBC reporting that Treasury Secretary Scott Bessent is going to be speaking with his Chinese trade counterpart on Friday. Let's talk about these tech names because they are very much still in play. This is Intel's chart, but MU is certainly something to watch out here for. Reuters reporting that the company is going to be halting their server chip sales to Chinese data centers due to some regulatory issues, but Mizuho actually still raising their price target on the stock. Then we have AMD on watch here, getting a price target increase of its own from BofA Securities. Of course, this company has been, I guess, with heightened attention since they had their OpenAI deal last week. And last but not least, an earnings play on watch here, IBKR chopping around a bit, but these earnings are really strong. nice year-over-year increase in net income and their trading volumes for most of their assets, and a double earnings beat. So IBKR, one of these earnings names. Another one you can look at would be AXP or CSX. We're going to send you back to the guys. Make sure to like and subscribe. Back to you.
Thank you very much, Adara. Nvidia flying, the market flying, AMD about to reverse. Oh, come on, AMD. So AMD, that 234 that was a short before, I'm kind of thinking breakout on it now. So I have a stop. I have like a stop limit order in case it breaks 234. I thought we were about to just test it. It looks like we're stalling out just a little bit at the volume weighted average price. With the market going though, it feels like you said, like a little bit of an early bear trap on some of these semis and then right back to the upside. Look at NVIDIA. NVIDIA just went green. I feel like AMD should be following, at least suit. I finally got into ASTS. I think we had mentioned this one earlier, kind of missing it at 87 before. So it curled back up in 87, did a topping tail candle at 87, so I shorted it. Going to play this one back into VWAP, give it to the high sort of standard play. So hopefully AMD breaks out. Like Intel, now 2.5% to the upside on Intel. Sheesh, Intel.
Yeah,
on that story, look at the wick when it holds. Give me a break. Like the wick is a full percentage point on that 3-minute candle. And now right back to the upside. Intel is moving in just a different way. So you kind of have to adjust. When Intel's moving like this, like it's not normal Intel. You know, getting fills on Intel is usually really, really easy. And obviously today, with it moving like this, it's just going to be a little bit different. So Intel's going to be built different today. 38, potential breakout at 38. I told you I like to dip buy more. It doesn't mean I won't take the breakout, but I would take the breakout for like a quarter of the shares that I would take the dip buy, if that. Maybe 20% of the shares on a breakout that I would take at that 37 quarter dip. But we didn't get it, so it looks like the breakout could be happening.
Yeah, this breakdown is happening here on gold, man. I was talking about 390. 390s are coming in now, so $5 lower. Oh boy, what a fumble on this one. There was one place to get in a little bit more, and that was this VWAP, and maybe through the opening range low / day low as well, through 392s, and that gives you $2 into 390s. But oh boy. Gold with a strong pullback here as of right now. So, man, a bit of a miss on my part. But I'm going to be patient. I'm going to wait for the next trade. This thing is falling like a waterfall right now. 389s.
And you don't go chasing dollars. You don't go chasing waterfalls.
You don't go chasing waterfalls, man. But here's the thing: when it gets like that crazy, when we're dropping down 50 pennies at a time, best believe the rip back up could be just.
If you think gold is moving down, look at silver.
Oh boy!
If gold moves a little, silver moves a lot. Everybody. Yikes. Okay, just got.
Move, you move.
ASD just went to VWAP, so if it bounces off VWAP, I reloaded at 86. If it bounces off 85, I reloaded at 86, and then we're going to hold for a little bit lower. But look at this move. It is absolutely pandemonium. The market's not red, but the metals absolutely are. The Nasdaq's breaking it out, and this is the juxtaposition we're sitting in right now. So, you know, your flight to safety is having its pullback day. Look at this uptrend. What happens when you break a trend like this?
Oh, yeah.
Usually a hefty.
And what are the kind of participants that usually trade these vehicles?
That's a great question, Obi.
I think that's a great question.
I said it because we're focusing on the move that was happening in the metals. Because obviously, look, it's great. ASTS went to VWAP like I was expecting, so great. We get a buck out of it. But when metals are moving like that, we have to go cover it for you guys. So if we break the volume weighted average price, or if ASTS breaks VWAP, then I want to play down in this low. It's already a double bottom at 83. So my style, I'm going to respect it and transact down there. I'm going to try to reload that 87. Missed it the first time. Paid down. I did chase a little bit more because I didn't chase here, so I chased a little bit there for half and never got to fulfill. So we'll still see if we can hold on to that to the short side. Intel is still blasting, however, everybody. Still blasting, 3780 and continuing to go. So this is holding this nice uptrend on Intel on this speculation that they have a large AI foundry customer. Speculation. It's nothing firm, and it's not the first time that we've heard rumors regarding Intel, and sometimes they end up being something and other times they don't. It's still the same names, everybody. Like I see, I gotta zoom back in here. There we go. Tesla, AMD, which we've covered, Ronnie, which is kind of moving down a little bit there. HIMS, SoFi, HIMS was tanking earlier, by the way, tanking. Let's go to Adara. We have another update.
Okay, so I'm seeing some more updates potentially with this intel, and I want to be very careful here because, again, I don't have any details and I couldn't see the entirety of the semi-accurate article, but I'm seeing now people speculating here on social media and citing semi-accurate that Microsoft is apparently a customer here of Intel's foundry services, saying that the Microsoft Maya 2 chips potentially here with INTC. Again, super speculative. I'm just letting you guys know because this is what I'm seeing here. If and when I get more details, I will keep you guys posted. Back to you.
Thank you very much, Adara. Shout out to, oh no, that site crashed. Okay. Okay, there it is. There it's good again, Fabian, thanks. Palantir is another name worth watching here. I'm just looking for something that isn't Intel, ASTS. AMD refuses to break out. It just turned into a short off that 234 again. Palantir is trying its best to get through a key 180 price. One thing to like about Palantir, check out the daily on Palantir. If you like the 50 period, 170 and the 50 period have been respected by Palantir. So if you're looking for continuation, you could do worse than that. But going long at the top when the market's struggling at the top is not my cup of tea. That's why I'm in one short right now. It's like you get to resistance on a day that I expect to be a bit of a chop fest early, then I would short tops and long bottoms. To each their own for sure. And it is HIMS. Yeah, it's now SSR down 11%. Just 2 days ago, this stock was going meme crazy. It was at 65 bucks. It's given all of that and then some back here on HIMS. The good news, if you like the stock, you're at support right now at 52. So maybe you get a possible SSR bounce. You won't see me catching that falling knife, however. But for anyone interested, you might get one there. AMD still sort of channeling its inside move. And no, seriously, it's just not really doing much. ASTS holding VWAPs. We're bucking the money, but it's holding the volume weighted average price. If it bounces, how about this? I should not be reloading. Why? Because that'd break a rule. What is it doing, Neil? Holding higher lows and bouncing off VWAP. So yeah, it's bucking the money, but it's holding higher lows and holding VWAP. If it bounces off VWAP, then that's actually long structure, and I should be covering. So if it breaks down, I hold for 83, maybe even short some more. But if it starts bouncing off VWAP, I got to cover. Market's in an uptrend. This is showing uptrend. Even if you get a win on a short, it doesn't necessarily mean you're the right way. Let's be real.
Yeah, I'm starting to think I might be the wrong way here on CRML. Some strong buying coming in back up through the 2150s. We've been consolidating on top of VWAP as well pretty decently, and I guess the market's coming in as well. I think one of the better trades on the day was that GLD. Even if you didn't have it off of the open, that VWAP hold was quite nice, all the way from 394s, 395s, all the way down to 389s, catching a bit of a bounce now here back into 391. So interesting look on that one as it kind of gives us some strong momentum off of the open. So now I'm asking where the next trade is. I'll have eyes on gold, but maybe back at VWAP or maybe back at 392s where that prior structure is kind of sitting at as of right now. So Caramel still watching that one. That's still kind of we'll let that. I want to see if it melts. I want to see if it melts here, if we just hold on to it. I'm just looking for a little bit potentially of a continuation of the prior couple days worth of action. If that's not going to happen, that's fine as well. Let's take a quick look at some of these mags here. Oh boy, actually no, I meant chips. So Intel continuing to push higher here. Nvidia is very, very strong alongside that. AMD now finally catching up.
Look
as
at
well,
Oracle,
Neil.
though.
Oracle, what's Oracle up to? I got to pull that one up here. Wow, Oracle with the fade. That's nice. That's really nice. So sellers came in yesterday at the end of the day, and I was just like, I'm curious to know what we do in and around prior day's closing price. Pre-market, we couldn't even hold that, and we fade even lower. So it's a great look there. IVF is trading a little bit lower here as well. We know that one was moving around due to I think Trump had a special announcement.
In vivo veritas.
In vivo veritas, yeah. There's also, I think, PGNY was moving as well, I think. Yeah, PGNY, Progeny.
He has no idea what I'm talking about.
Wow, Progeny coming right back in as well. So that's looking great. I think, yeah, a little bit of a pop and drop on these names here. PGNY, boom. So a bit of a shake and bake on some presidential talk overnight, and strong flush. So kind of giving it back and then some on that news here. And the other stock was IVF, I think.
I mean, Tesla looks like it's the one right now.
Tesla is blasting, dude.
As I said, I was going to follow my rules, and so the market's trending up. Just because you're in a short that makes money does not mean you're in the right direction. So I just jumped out. Higher low got respected. The trend line got respected on ASTS. So I can want this to go further down, but until it breaks that trend line, then what am I doing? I'm covering in front of VWAP, and I'm waiting for the next trade on ASTS. Why? Because it is not doing what I'm expecting. So why would I be sitting in it forever? It makes absolutely no chance. Yeah, yummy Thai foods, Todd. I do speak a little Latin. Now I really hate them. Tombstone is the greatest Western movie of all time, and Doc Holliday is probably a top 5 character in any movie ever done. Val Kilmer, may he rest in peace, is an absolute legend of an actor. So there goes AMD. I came in with pretty much 100% short ideas. So if you're up when the market's going up and you went short in pretty much everything that you traded, then you should be happy, but it doesn't mean you should be staying short. You just got to be looking for a little bit of a flip. So some people have asked, I just saw in the chat, where's the next level for the Nasdaq? 25. 25.
There it is.
Like, this has been all roads. We've traded 25,000 on the Nasdaq every single day. At some point, we've traded 25,000 this week. Now, sometimes it abjectly rejects it right away. Other times it fails a breakout, then rejects, fail a breakout and reject. The difference that I think matters here is you've got it doing it in the morning and false breaking. And now we'll see. Because this is right off the bat, right off the open, and sometimes pre-market when we're fading that level. It's built a little bit different. But I did just see a super chat flash on the screen. David, put that again. Or Andre, if you could. BTCC, thank you, Derek, Celestine. Prior runner bounced off the 52-week low. BTTC. It's easy for me to make that mistake, Black Titan, instead of, I think BTCC, because that's a purpose Bitcoin. It's an ETF here in Canada for Bitcoin, which I'm invested in. So that's where my mind went. Untradeable. If you send a super chat, I'll look at a stock, we'll talk about it for a split second, but it's on 100,000 shares. It's a $5 stock. You can't really trade this. So yeah, you got yourself a little bit of a bounce on a dead cat bounce. Great. I don't know what you do with something like that. Because on 140,000 shares, there's something that a trader told me years and years ago. No matter how good a strategy you might have as a trader, if you're doing it on something that's not scalable, then you're wasting your time with it. So like it's kind of like if you're trading things that are so illiquid that you'll never be able to just scale your strategy up, because you want to get to the point where you don't even care about the shares. The only function of share size, a trade's a trade, and share size is just about how much liquidity is available in the stock and your buying power. Well, with a stock like this, it's done 150,000 shares, you'll never be able to scale a strategy. So it's almost pointless to develop a strategy on it. I know that's a bit of a harsh thing to say, but I found it to be true because I started out as a penny stock trader, and that was very true in penny stocks. Sure, I could win on some ones that did less than 1 million shares, but you could never ramp up those strategies. So you had to find something that worked on the ones that were doing millions of shares. So I know that's not what you want to hear, but whatever. Oftentimes, the honest opinion is not what you want to hear.
Yeah, I think scalability is huge, especially in a game where like you want to have the ability to grow almost endlessly. You want to look for places that don't really show you much of a ceiling. So liquid names definitely are great targets. That's partially the reason why I like some of the mags the most. because I'm just like, if I can formulate strategies over time on some of these names, these are some of the most liquid stocks in the market and very scalable.
It'll be transferable to like if you traded Cisco back in the day, it's transferable to Microsoft, which is transferable to Apple, which is transferable to Nvidia, which is transferable to whatever the other one might be. Like that's 100%. Sort of the idea.
I mean, it's very, again, it's very, I think it's very hard to do, but that's why I love doing it, right? I think is it really worth it if it's not hard, right? That's how I like to kind of look at things. But at the same time, I also want to go for the easy money trades as well, right? Which might be like that GLD short, where it's holding that structure. This thing dropped all the way down to 388s now, Neil. So absolute craziness happening on gold. Potential backside move here on this name as it comes a little bit back in for a bit of a breather here. Again, Neil talking about that break of trend earlier, and yeah, that break of trend definitely coming in nicely. So we got all the way up to 22s here on CRML, maybe a little bit of a wick shimmy dance all the way up to 2211s here. But with the range this thing's been doing, you know, I gotta give it a bit of a risk, right? Gotta give it some room, appropriate risk. We talked about where real risk is.
I don't mean to interrupt.
No worries.
Two things.
Man.
One,
what's happening?
ASTS broke trend, so when it broke the trend, I got into the trade, which is what I said I was waiting for. But Tesla's at 440.
Oh boy.
So this is Tesla. It's up 2%. Tesla has been an absolute rocket ship. But this is what 440 has looked like the entirety of the week. I don't have orders out on ASTS. Let me just, I should do that right away. All week long, and even going into last week, 440 has been resistance. That's a bogus print, just some kind of crazy, silly dark pool, so it hasn't been there. But every time it's gotten up here, it's acted differently. Sometimes it rejects underneath. Sometimes it false breaks 440 and pulls back underneath. It does either one. So open-minded to either of those setups. If I see like massive size or something, you might see me hop in underneath 440. If I see a topping tail candle, I'm also willing to short that as well. Already some sellers starting to come in. I just rang register. Ooh, I have a button for that. Down underneath 84 on ASTS. This is what that looks like while I stare down Tesla. It broke trend. I went short, took some out when it just kind of battled the 84 level. Gonna wait for low of the day again here at 83. This is what it didn't do last time, which is give me the follow through to 83. But I said this was just a stock that looked like it was a short if it failed to break out the high today on ASTS. So it did not break out the high, so I'm short the stock. Here comes Tesla. There's your wick up to 440.
Continuation, man.
The continuation is crazy.
Like we're about to break. Is this weekly highs? Is that Monday? Yeah, this is weekly. Weekly highs are coming in at 440 halves. So the week goes red to green.
Exactly.
The week goes red to green at 440 halves. So that's definitely an interesting look. All the way up from 420s. We were talking about 420s. Can we get much higher? Yes, we definitely can. On a day like today, 415s was the pre-market lows at 4 a.m. And yeah, opening prices, let's see, where are we opening up at right here? Opening prices at 930. We're at 425.40. So absolutely crazy. Absolutely solid here. Tesla, now I definitely got to pull it up because I'm seeing this move, Neil, and I'm like, we're coming up into a supply zone and we're straight green line up. Guess what? It smells like a reversion might be brewing here. What's going on in the small caps is what I'm wondering about right now, Adara.
Let's start here with CRML. I know this one's been discussed a lot. A little bit of a bigger market cap, but we know we still do have these mineral names in play, and this one is a decent short float too. We have a roughly 13-14% short float here for CRML. Next up, Ronnie Therapeutics, RANI, another one that's been discussed a lot this morning, and they do have a catalyst. They think the deal valued it up to $1.085 billion here for oral biologics, and they also announced a private placement. Last but not least, PRAX. Praxis Precision, this is a day two mover. Yesterday, they had some positive news here with regards to their elixacaltamide for a tremor treatment. So nice look there for them. Then after the close yesterday, they announced a public offering. Either way, hasn't impacted the stock too much. As we mentioned earlier, it's actually near its high from yesterday. Before we send you back to Neil and Obi, we're going to take a moment to thank our friends at Trade the Pool. Did you know that instead of risking your own money, you can now trade with someone else's capital? No more fear of losing. No more moving your stop loss too soon. and you actually get enough capital to make it worth your time. You can aim for big profits, not just a couple $100 a month. This is the revolution called limited risk trading, and it's powered by Trade the Pool. This is how it works. Join Trade the Pool, hit the profit goal, 70% of your profits. Visit tradethepool.com or scan the QR code now for 10% off. Back to you.
Thank you very much. Thank you very much, Adara.
Right, Tesla's at that 440.
Yeah, Tesla's at that 440 half.
The first time it went through, just for everybody out there, it flushed a very fast $2 and they bought it right back up. So you had to be super, super quick to have gotten that.
So fast.
That like if you wanted to get like I have like 97s right now, but if you tried to get a price like 439.97 the first time, no chance. Absolutely no chance. Like a swipe down, you're chasing the 39. So I'm giving it to the high of the day as we speak, with essentially a 440 flat short. So this is the wick I'm looking for. Definitely want to play that 38 level. Just given what happened the last time it got to 38, I think I should be respecting that. If it gets to 38, respect that. And then if we get to like 34.5 right in here, like respect that level as well. Tesla, super strong. When you break 39, if we break 39 downside, I don't want it slamming back up through 39. So I'm going to be pretty nimble with it once we break the 39 level here on Tesla. ASTS is still working. The Nasdaq didn't get to 25,000, but it got pretty close. So that was the level we're looking for. It's like if the Nasdaq gets to 25,000, look for a bit of a fade. Brian Thompson, it's not about keeping my word. He's like, Neil keeps his word. He said if it gets to 440, he'll fade it. You know what? Yeah, if it sets up, I'm going to trade it, and if you lose, you lose. That being said, you shouldn't be prideful about trading. Like if it gets up there, and I said this morning, I'm going to short Tesla if it gets to 440, and it gets there, and you're like, oh, I don't like the way this is looking, then you shouldn't take it. Just because you said you would. I know in most forms of life, like you should do what you say. I tell my daughter that all the time. But at the end of the day, like if I lose on this, and maybe I should have sniffed out not taking it. So just because I said this is an important level that I would fade today this morning, it doesn't mean you have to be in it. Anyways, it's cool. And I appreciate the compliment. I just think that's a really bad reason to do something as a trader, because you said you would. You know what I mean? Like make sure, like is it doing what you want to happen in that moment? Is it look the way you want? Is it the trade setup that you want? Then take the trade. Is it not? Then there's nothing wrong with it. And say the reason why. Be like, I'm now not taking this level because reason X. I don't have a reason, so I'm in it. But like, imagine a reason, and if it's legitimate, then you shouldn't be in it. And this 39 just keeps on washing. If they wash 39 again to the upside, man, these buyers at the half dollar are kind of nuts. Okay, again, I'm going to follow a rule. I'm like, if it can't bust this, then I got to take something out. So it couldn't bust through 38 and didn't prove to me that the buyers still aren't there. Usually when you get out like that, it slams down, but they're still holding 438 on Tesla. So I still think 35, not VWAP. It's Friday. On Fridays, every $5 matters a little bit more because options expiration and all that good stuff. So I'm going to respect that 435 level. Still going to give it to the high of the day as well. And just let us know what else you guys are watching here, because let's be real. How many people I know you guys were looking at Tesla. Win, lose, or draw, I was not looking at Tesla this morning at all. Wasn't on the list, didn't have a catalyst, didn't care to trade it. And you guys were the ones that were saying, Tesla, you got to look at this stock. And so we did, and maybe I wouldn't have noticed. It went to my level, and now we got to trade on. And win, lose, or draw, I think it was the right place to be at that price. Let's go to Adara.
Yeah, so I do want to let you guys know there were a couple things with TSLA, neither of them major, but I think maybe we should address it, or I want to let you guys know just in case. So Tesla yesterday actually announced this new FSD update, but there is some worry there could be scrutiny related to the FSD update from NHTSA, which is the National Highway Traffic Safety Administration. Then we also had a price target increase here for Barclays, but it's worth noting we're trading about $90 above this price target. Barclays raising their PT on Tesla from $275 to $350. That is all I'm seeing. And again, FSD update, I looked it up this morning. It happened yesterday, intraday. Back to you.
I was literally just telling Obi, like, I love Adara. Because like I'll sit there and there's only so much you can look at and only so much you can cover and only so much you can pay attention to. So, you know, my dumb ass is like, well, there's not really a catalyst on Tesla. And always make sure you take Adara's word for it when it comes to news and not necessarily. Like I'll give you news as it's coming, but don't expect me to remember absolutely everything that I read in the morning or came across. I don't. I'm getting old, but Adara does. She has an eidetic memory. She literally remembers everything. Like if I tell you,
I think by far one of the best memories I've ever.
No, but if I just name like a random company, or I can name three. I could say Boeing, Oracle, and Intel. Who are the three CEOs? She'd probably just off the top of the head.
Okay, so Kelly Ortberg, Boeing. Prior was Dave Calhoun. Then we have, what was the next one? Oracle. Oracle, they just switched the CEOs, but I know the former CEO was Safra Katz, and the two new CEOs were former C-suite executives at the company. Then the last one there was Intel. Intel current CEO Lip Bhutan, prior Pat Gelsinger.
I give up.
Boom. Right there.
I promise you that was not scripted. I promise
you know what's crazy as well? Like memory's crazy. So sometimes we talk about charts, and she'll be like, "Oh, this chart looks like this one from the past," and that skill, that skill is absolutely huge, right? It's just like being able to recognize real time. Oh, this pattern, like it's just pattern recognition, right? And it's just like if you have a visual, if you have the memory for that, oh boy, like I wish I could do that where I could just look at a chart and be like, "Oh, this reminds me of this stock from 6 months ago when it did this." That's a huge edge. Think about like how much
speaking of charts that do this or that,
the other participants. Yes.
Are you seeing 438 right now?
I'm participating. I'm in there, dog. I'm just like, yo, I'm risking to the high.
These guys aren't. So what's happening on Tesla? Like the buyers are legit at 438. So this is the decision point. It's like, okay, so that's a place. Either you like. There's two ways to play it. Either you're short the top and you cover some here, or you're looking for an entry to give to the high for a bigger move. Either way, this is a decision point. Or you're like a long trader and you're buying here and scalping the top. You scalp the top, or you could scalp the long. Either way, but 438. If you're trading the stock, you've got to be eyeballing that like a hawk, because it's going to do something big off of this level. So if you're short 40s, you're holding for the break. If you're long 38s, you're holding hopefully for the break up. Which, I hope for everybody out there that you can get a winning trade on for yourself. I gotta at least watch. I just went to Blue Ocean again, and it's not a Blue Ocean moment. Come on, load so I can flip. There we go. That was an interesting aftermarket. So I reloaded ASTS. I got out a couple times and reloaded at VWAP because that one doesn't seem to want to break more than $1 either. So I've been short at 86. I'm now short at 85. I've been short at 84. I've shorted every single dollar level and just kind of taken a buck each time on the trend to the downside. However, you got to respect, if it breaks this upward trend and I lose VWAP, I should jump out of the trade. So while it's working for now, got to be able to respect that bad boy. And shout out to Willis Addison for the super chat. Respect you, appreciate you, and I can't find it, so I had to do this. Adara's undefeated oracle of Tradertv.live.
Thank you. Thank you very much for the support for the show and for the kind words.
I don't even. Like I said, like I had none of that was scripted, and I just threw. It was the first three companies that came to mind. I don't know why Boeing came to mind. Maybe someone had just typed it or something like that. But yeah, it's legit. That's why you're here, everybody.
There goes that Tesla a little bit, man.
Oh, the market's starting to roll over too. Remember 25,000, everybody.
Here we go.
25,000. Place to look for some shorts. And place to hammer the shorts like somebody's hammering over there.
Yeah, I mean, I'm looking to hammer this. I wasn't paying close attention to
Randy.
Tesla here at that 440. Shout out to Neil for having that 440 snipe. That I see you, Neil. 439.98. I see you. That's a snipe fill right there. Oh boy, we'll be right back from Adara and continue to talk about this market pullback.
Yeah, let's talk here about this market, because we have commentary coming from Trump trade advisor Peter Navarro. As I mentioned earlier, we've had a lot of Trump admin officials speaking all day. And Peter Navarro here saying that we, meaning I guess the administration, do not see tariffs raising the cost of manufacturing. But the other thing I want to mention here too is he said they're not going to see manufacturing jobs until capacity gets built. So maybe I guess this manufacturing growth in the U.S. could be slowed, is maybe what's being suggested here. But either way, Peter Navarro's talking. He doesn't tend to be supermarket moving, but be aware, guys. Back to you.
Yeah, always be aware when you've got anybody from the admin talking. Yeah, I mean, you don't see tariffs raising the cost of manufacturing. I mean, I don't know how that works, but maybe they don't. Hopefully they don't. All that kind of good stuff. Intel, by the way, does not hold $38. Tesla's getting to that decision, the next decision point for it, but Intel broke the trend as well. So you could have shorted a lot of things up at the top, but Intel through 38, just for everybody out there, also a place where you could be looking. Maybe this can hold VWAP. Again, speculation, and only speculation that they have a foundry client. I know you just jumped into the short on Intel, but the market's coming back in, everybody. And if you're looking for kernels of strength out there, I would posit to you Nvidia, which is barely pulled back. So it's got almost nothing. It's consolidating at yesterday's high. So I'm always looking for like what is next. And because Tesla's at my next decision point, I think the next place I'm going to look is going to be Nvidia. Consolidating off yesterday's high when everything else is pulling back means it's relatively strong.
Yeah, I'm kind of watching this Tesla. I'm just like, I don't have enough. I took a starter because I didn't have the 440, and this is one of my issues. It's like when I know I don't have that price where I'm just like, that was the snipe, I either walk away or I size down and I just start to fumble it. I might get a little tilted sometimes, and I start to be like, all right, well, I missed that trade. Now the next trade is the reversion, so I'll just go for the reversion. But
here's the way I look at it.
Yes.
If you look at the top end of the range, because I just jumped out, I said this is my decision point level on Tesla. This is why. Like if you draw a line here, and this is what, oh no, I didn't have the right tool up. See? If you want to draw the line tool, you actually have to click the line tool. So if I'm playing this, then I know if you fall apart underneath here, like that's its own level with like $10 worth of range. And then you've got this up top, 440. So it's more 36 than 35, but that's a distinction without too much of a difference. So play that range. Like play it from here to here, and then down to there. If it breaks down underneath 36, there's all kinds of other short opportunities out there for you. And if you can only trade, build like PDT or something, I get it that it probably doesn't work the same way. But for us, that's the way that I like to play it. Like I tend to play more like from level to level. I know where I'm getting in. I have a decent idea where I'm probably going to cover all of it, and look for the next opportunity. So 440 gave it to you, but this is still an upward trending stock. And I said the next place I would look is Nvidia to see if it's going to hold up. So Nvidia was consolidating prior day high. Uh-oh, not so much anymore. Now Nvidia looks like it is also breaking trend. So it was, and now, and this is my thing, like I'll just go from one, and then I get out of one short because it goes to target, and then immediately sort of identifying another one as its breaking trend, and I can kind of hop over to Nvidia. This is why I end up trading more symbols than the average person. Because I'll get out, and then something else is setting up in the same market move that gives me a clear structure of a trade. So I'll hold this because I felt like that was going to be an all-day short, despite the fact the position board just went. I'm sure it'll come back on the next one.
I'm just singing to myself here, you know, baby, don't hurt me no more. As you know, CRML was pretty sweet off in the open. We got that reversion down into VWAP. Intel's looking great as well. That's working out all right here. Like we said, 38 was the snipe, and even then, I chased 77s, being like, all right, what's the likelihood we pull back a little bit, if anything here? Yeah, I think it's pretty decent. 37s potentially coming in here on Intel as that's pulling back into prior structures as that reversion cometh. The reversion is here, both on Tesla. Tesla, I'm not holding anymore. I'm just like, I held on to like to 436s. I understand that VWAP's all the way down at 432s, 433s maybe, and then this prior structure is coming in at 433s at the same time.
Can I ask you a silly question?
What's up?
Do you actually know the name of the song that you just sung?
No, I don't. I actually don't.
I had a Assassino knows the name of the song.
Okay, yeah,
What
yeah.
is
See,
love?
if you say it, then yeah,
What
of
is
course.
love?
Yeah, yeah.
Hadaway.
Okay.
Hadaway.
Hadaway?
Hadaway.
Hadaway? Like,
Do you know the movie? Do you know the movie that it's from?
no.
Now you know.
Oh, well, I know of the movie. Yeah, yeah. That's a very iconic meme. Yeah, for sure. No, I'm not too familiar. See, here's the thing. I know. Like, if it's like a popular snippet of a song, yeah, I might know. I might not know the whole song as well. Wow,
in Obi's defense, obviously that song is that's my age group, not Obi's for that song. Not even close.
I mean, we're not that far away, dude.
Yeah, you are. For that song, yeah, you are.
Okay, well, I don't know.
Hadaway, What Is Love? Are you crazy? That's not.
Yeah, that's definitely before my
What year
time,
is that?
For sure.
Hadaway.
For sure it is. But yeah, okay. All right. So what's happening here? I'm seeing some numbers.
That was 1993, bro. You're not even born yet. 1990. Come on, son. Come on, son.
I don't know. I might have been. I might not have been. I don't know. But what is Andre saying?
When
yes,
you were
I
born,
was born.
The last time the Jays won the World Series.
Intel here. Let's see where Intel's going to come down into. I need a chart. I'm only staring at the tape here, and I'm like, where is prior structure? I'm just trading the rainbow here. Shout out to LeVar Burton. But yeah, Intel, let's pull up this chart here. Intel pulling back. Wow, what a beautiful reversion there, Neil. It's coming in real hot. Over 50% right down to VWAP. Thank you very much. Come again. It is reversion in the market here. Tesla is reverting. Intel is reverting. Caramel, bigger picture, it is reverting. Well, I'll give it that. But yeah, no, good reversions happening in the market as of right now. So looking pretty decent. Where's the next trade? I'm looking for those aggressive initial moves, and I'm sitting on my hands being like, all right, when these guys are done, I definitely want to participate. And that's what we said for Tesla. Didn't quite hold it into 435s just yet, but we'll wait for more structure to form. Intel, though, Neil, that was a great call out by you. That's coming in real
Yeah,
nice.
but I didn't take it.
What's going on, Adara?
I'm too patient.
Really quickly, first, I want to mention Goldman Sachs. Not moving too much on this, but I've seen this headline proliferate around a lot in the past couple of minutes, so I want to mention it. Wall Street Journal reporting that Goldman Sachs expanding into AI infrastructure financing with a new global banking team focusing on data centers and AI projects. So GS going to be on watch here. Now let's talk here about this sector board. And this technology services is fascinating here. Really flat for a lot of these names, including all three Mag 7s. But then we've got relative strength in Netflix and Intuit, and then Oracle down 7%. So this is a really mixed bag, this sector. Talk about electronic technology, though, with the exception of Apple and, oddly enough, Cisco, there's a lot more weakness here. Nvidia flat, but Broadcom down 2.5%, AMD down 1%. Then finance, a little bit maybe faring better. We've got AXP to the upside after their earnings report. Capital One Financial, which reports next week, also positive here, as is MasterCard. Then retail trade, a little bit stronger looking as well. Consumer durables, consumer services, energy minerals, consumer non-durables. Health technology, Eli Lilly to the downside. Now, if you're wondering why Lilly, Novo Nordisk, and Hims and Hers are all to the downside, Donald Trump yesterday said they're going to be bringing prices way down, quote unquote, for these GLP-1s. But yeah, like long story short, these tech sectors are really not moving together. You've got some names that are really strong and some that are just as weak. Back to you. Oh, and Woman Boss. Thank you to our friends at Woman Boss, because empowered women change the world, and you can help make it happen. The Woman Boss trains and mentors women and girls across Africa to lead, innovate, and thrive. Since 2018, we've reached over 10,000 women and girls, and your donation today can launch the next great entrepreneur. Scan the QR code on your screen now and join us in building a brighter future. Back to you.
Thank you very much. This market's coming in, man. We attempted to push up into that 25K level. A lot of anticipation, right? I was like, oh boy, we keep on kind of knocking into it. We already hit it there, I guess, over in the overnight session, pulling all the way back from 25.2s, 25.150s and some change. Let's see, let's get specific. Bar high is sitting in and around 25.179. So we'll say 180, 25.180 in and around that. Those were the highs, pulling back pretty decently. And then a nice little quadunk as well in the morning session, about 3 a.m. Or 4 a.m. We get all the way down into that 24,000. Strong push right back up. The reversion, and now I'm asking, is this the reversion of the reversion? Yesterday I saw Tesla do this, yesterday I saw Google do this crazy move. Crazy bid, and when those guys were done, bang, oh boy, reversion. Today, we see Tesla, crazy bid. When those guys are done, boom. Intel, crazy bid. When those guys are done, oh boy. slam back down into VWAP right there. I love symmetry, Neil, but the selling here, this is a classic example of maybe taking the escalator up, because it wasn't necessarily just the stairs. You took the escalator up, and then maybe you just jumped out of the window back down to the first floor.
Just
here,
make sure the escalator is working.
All the way back down. Yeah, just make sure the escalator is working, right? Yeah, so that's coming in nicely. CRML, let's see what that one's doing.
Some escalators are actually like, you know, people tamper with them so that you get embarrassed when they don't work.
Yeah, sometimes, excuse me, what's that? Oh, they get embarrassed when they don't work? Yeah, exactly. I don't know. Sometimes I'm just like, okay, well.
Whoa, just very quickly, aggressive buyer just popped in on Nvidia. Distinctly different from the rest of the price action that was going on in this down move, just showed up here at 182.3. Someone was walking, see this topping tail candle? Someone was walking it down in this topping tail candle, and then right in here, they were holding it at 182.30 and just got swiped. So there was kind of like a decent sized seller that just got swiped on Nvidia. So I thought you could go to VWAP, but I don't think it anymore. Starting to look a little bit strong. You know what? That might be a decisive turn in the market.
Yeah, strong bid.
Yeah, strong bid coming in. I tried to hold for more on that, I guess the third short on ASTS, but I might flatten out, because that's a strong bid coming in, and you know where it comes in on the futures. If you're into this sort of thing, which is what charts look like, pre-market highs were 24.8 for resistance. We just did a bottoming tail, and we're doing a wick candle on the 15-minute as the Nasdaq is bouncing at prior highs. So it's upward trend. As great as the shorts have been, like, I get it. Market is overall trending up. I've pretty much only been short, and it's worked. I always say it's like you're getting away with shorts because like you're just shorting the right stock at the right time and then maybe getting out at the right time as well. But it doesn't mean that you're with the trend. And if you're not with the trend, you should be extra careful and look for every possible signal to confirm that, hey, okay, well, maybe the trend is reversing, or in this particular case, maybe I need to jump out. So I'm not gonna reload ASTS. I'm going to break out. This candle up here was like 85.10. I'll maybe risk 20 cents on the last little bit here, and then jump out of the trade, because ultimately that 24.8 holds, we could be heading back into the upside. Remember, hit that like and subscribe, everybody, if you've been enjoying the show. I just heard a stat.
Right there.
Fabian, it's right there.
It's right there.
21.7% of the viewers are not subscribed. That means you're not getting notifications. That means you're making Joseph very unhappy. I heard Joseph, like, he actually whimpered.
Don't do that.
Like, some people might be like, what the heck? You guys aren't subscribed? He literally whimpered. Like, you made a grown man almost cry with that number.
Oh boy.
I'm keeping it real. I heard that audible whimper coming from Joe.
Don't be getting the boys into their feels. Don't be getting the boys into their feels. You gotta hit that like and subscribe, you know.
If that number ever gets to 50%, Joe will eat an entire apple pie.
Oh boy. Apple pie.
Right, Joe?
Yes. There you go, right there. See, he's up for a challenge. He's like, you know.
How about this, Joe? I will tell you this right now.
Let's make a pie bet.
The day Joe says he's willing to eat pie, like however many slices of like apple or pumpkin pie, I'll double that live on the show.
Okay.
Straight up.
All right.
I don't care.
A pie eating contest?
Oh, dude. I will whoop his butt in any.
Let's go. Dude, pizza with pineapple is tolerable.
Okay. No. Let's say back on topic. I'm not talking about pizza and pineapple. I'm not eating pineapple on pizza. I'm just talking about apple pie, pumpkin pie, whatever you want. If Joe wants to challenge, I can eat twice as much as him. Promise you. Bet that. Might be an old man, but
I believe that.
I will handle my business when it comes to a pie eating contest.
That's awesome. Yeah. No, last pie I ate was an apple pie. I think just a couple of weeks ago.
Classic.
Classic apple pie.
What is that?
It's pretty solid. Market taking a little bit of a bounce here. Tesla's coming right back in.
And they started with Nvidia.
Came into So the bid. You're saying the bid started off with Nvidia.
The bid started with Nvidia.
That's good nuance to notice there. Thank you. So let's take a look at some of these mags. Amazon's down at its lows there, so that's the only one that's looking distinctly different as of right now. when it comes to those names. In terms of my watch list from this morning, let's see how some of those stocks are doing. Oracle to the downside. Oh boy, a little bit of a miss on my part on that one there. AMD sideways chop, so nothing crazy just yet. Progeny, PGNY, that one faded off of the open, so that one might have been a little bit of a miss on my part. Rigetti, sideways chop. Gold, that was nice. Took that trade off of the open there. That was pretty interesting on gold. Strong up move. A little bit of a potential bigger picture reversion happening there off of the open. But now we found a bit of a base at 387s on GLD, right? That's what I'm looking at when I'm looking at gold. So GLD, finding a little bit of a base and now bouncing up as well. The question becomes: is this bounce going to follow through? Are we going to get through these highs? Or is this aggressive selling going to continue back down into some chop? What I'm seeing so far with the limited information that's been printed is that we attempted to push that 24.8. We got pretty aggressive all the way through 24.950s and then pulling back into that 24.8.
Yeah,
maybe that resistance turning into support.
You cover Tesla. Right?
I'm done with, I got done with Tesla a long time ago. Am I still in this Intel? Yeah, no, I'm done with Intel as well.
Yeah, I think
the only thing I'm really in right
done.
now is CRML. So just letting that one. I just want to see if it melts in my mouth. You know,
not in your hands.
Gotta take some time. Not in my hands.
Not in your hands.
Yeah.
I think the short's done. So I'm looking for like the next trade. Kind of looking for maybe some of the downtrends to break. Like I jump out of ASTS and VWAP, so that's what we did. I was kind of wrong about that 36. It ends up being 35, distinction without a difference. But Tesla now catching another bid in there. Nvidia catches a bid off 182. So that was not, like Nvidia was a bit of a too late. Should have been short here instead. Was short like 182.6. Should have been short like 183. Missed about 50 pennies of that move, but still pretty valid. Nvidia looks a little stronger than the rest. I'm double checking what's going on with AMD. Ultimately, AMD is kind of a nothing burger. Like there was an early short in there, and then you're getting some higher lows. I'd say that's disappointing. But you know what? Oracle, ORCL, is the, well, it's not the bell of the ball. Whatever the opposite of the bell of the ball is, and I actually don't know what that is. If there is, there probably isn't even some kind of a phrase that you can say. But Oracle down 7%. This is a problem. Oracle, you are a problem now. You are officially a legitimate problem. And the reason I say is just this. From the highs on an insane guide, right? Like huge guidance, all relying on OpenAI, lower highs put in, another wick top, that's a rejection top, and you're losing 300 on a Friday. And this is with the market green. Nasdaq's still green right now and bouncing higher lows. And Oracle's doing this? Well, that's a problem. And it's a problem that's probably headed to $270, in my opinion. So the bell end of the ball,
what?
It could work. I don't know. I don't know if anything works against like the opposite of bell of the ball.
Yeah, I don't. I was trying to think of it. I was like, okay, what's the opposite of a bell? I don't know.
No, but in this, yeah, but it's not like a bell that you ring.
Yeah,
it's like bell.
Okay, that's what.
Yeah.
See, I don't even understand. Bell of the ball, like
ELLE.
Okay.
So like bow, it's like bow and bell.
Yeah.
But that's not really an opposite. Like I want like.
Okay, so the bell of the ball, as in the prettiest one at the dance, in a sense. Okay, so then that makes it much easier. Because I'm thinking like, what's the opposite of like a bouncy ball? I'm just like, I don't know what the opposite of a ball is. Yeah, then we can definitely come up with something.
The dog of the dance, the beast of the ball. The dog of the dance, maybe.
Let's be right back from Adara.
I would actually argue that you could go the beast of the ball because Bella is her name in Beauty and the Beast. But either way, let's talk about the US dollar because that's what we're here to talk about. And US dollar is certainly not the bell of the ball this entire year, but I wanted to look at a weekly chart and kind of zoom out and show you guys maybe there is this curl. We've talked a lot, or I have discussed maybe ad nauseum, this curl on the US dollar on the daily, but I think in the weekly you see this as well. There's some clear support, almost a double bottom at that 96 level. And we're trying to curl back higher here. Now, obviously, some resistance here on the weekly is going to be that $100 level, same resistance we've seen on every time frame for USD. But if we can get above that $100 level, it does seem like the DXYs may be poised to push a bit higher. So I want to talk about that. It's a little bit hard because we don't have a lot of, or really any economic data to discuss. But guys, next week, we will be getting CPI, and that is confirmed. CPI coming through on October 24th, so next Friday, from the Bureau of Labor Statistics. That'll be, I think, probably the first big piece of economic data that we get, unless we get the shutdown resolved earlier. Though, again, as I mentioned earlier, comments from House Minority Leader Hakeem Jeffries suggest they're not likely to get any resolution today. Either way, though, CPI Friday, October 24th. Stay tuned. Back to you.
Thank you very much.
As always, I love this idea, and I'm going to try to find it in the chat from Anit, and if I can't find it fast enough, here it is. I'm using the tool, everybody. I can use technology. Fabian, where are you? See, I'm absolutely capable of doing this properly. Neil, Trader TV should do a meet and greet so we can take pictures with our mentors. You have no idea how much you guys helped me with my trading journey. You probably want a picture with Obi and Joe.
Definitely want a picture with Neil. Come on.
Dara and Sean. Not my old.
Dude, I used to sit at home watching both you and Sean.
That's cap.
For the longest time.
That's cap.
So if we're talking about men, like the strongest mentors, like I've learned so much from Neil and Sean. And I hope you guys are doing the same as well. Because these guys have been sitting, we talk about seat time. Seat time is unmatched.
It's actually bad for your back, too.
Seat time, yeah, it's pretty bad for your back. But seat time is absolutely unmatched. And who has the most seat time on this floor? Bar none, is both Sean and Neil. So when they say something,
he at least goes for walks. I don't go for walks.
You gotta heed the advice. You gotta heed the warnings. You gotta see what the decision making is. You gotta see what the mindset is. And at the end of the day, you decide for yourself. I say this all the time. The show is amazing for learning, right? So analyze, reverse engineer, and figure out what you should be doing and what you should not be doing. Because we're bringing it to you here live. That decision making is happening live. So it's a great tool for you to use to the best of your abilities, right? It's up to you what you do with it.
Like every trader learns from other traders, but traders don't get good copying other traders. You might make money for a while. I've seen it happen before, but you don't make money in the long run copying somebody else. You have to, the mentality of like, why did I find this level? What's my entry strategy? Where is my exit? Why is it my exit? And all that kind of stuff. That's what it's all about. But just getting back to the meet and greet thing, we've talked about this a lot. I know we've thrown ideas out there. We've just never gotten it off the board. And obviously the big part of it is if you're tuning in for the first time, as by the way, the market is trying to bounce off that 24.8. I'm watching it, so I have to let you guys know, back toward that 25,000 resistance. We're in Canada. So we're in Toronto, Canada. I know a lot of our viewers in the US, which makes it tricky because the other thing that we're absolutely committed to, bar none, is if the US markets are open and trading, Trader TV Live is here for you, period. And that means we only take breaks when either Obi fills in for one of us or the market is closed,
show doesn't take
which
a break.
Makes us incredibly busy. And it's really tricky to do other things when that's the case. Like, we would never ring the bell at the TSX because we have to be here, and we have to be here doing a show for you guys. That's the tricky part. We'd love to be able to figure it out. Logistically, maybe we could. But the show, our number one priority is making sure that we are here live when the market's open for you guys. That's it. That's number one. Everything else kind of ends up secondary, so things like a meet and greet are really difficult for us to pull off. We only have 4 minutes to go, and I'm disappointed to say I didn't get the email for this week for lunch.
Oh boy.
Adara, can you just send it to me so I can do the what's for lunch? So I actually don't have the email. I was trying to find it. I messaged Brennan. I'm like, I don't know if he has it. So Adara is going to send it to me. But and we just broke 24.8.
Oh
24.8 just broke up.
It's coming in hot.
Oh, yeah, that's nasty. So the market just did a huge left turn. Like the split second, I still don't see it. The split second that we broke 24.8, that's the candle on Nvidia. What did Tesla do? Can I join Tesla? Tesla, same level. That's not going to be the one. I know where I have to, look, I have to go back to the well because I'm just going to re-enter ASTS, which is one of the I said I wanted to be in this stock all day, so the futures are going to confirm. I'm just going to jump right back in on this one to the south side, AMD's losing VWAP. So everything's starting to go back down in. And why? I'll demonstrate it with the Qs. This 600 level, right? Like we had basically been holding here and then bouncing off that level. So you have the pre-market high was early support. It bounced here again. Once you lose that, everything starts making another leg to the downside. And you might be looking for some short re-entries. That's what we're looking at here. Now I can do what's for lunch when I pull it up. I don't have the button for it. Somebody must have the other. Oh, that's what I'm talking about.
Whoa.
It might be Friday, but it's Taco Friday today. That's what I'm talking about. We got tacos, Mexican street coin. You got lettuce, red onions, tomatoes, cheese, jalapenos, sour cream, and Chef's Choice salad, because we always get Chef's Choice salad. So if you're into tacos, it is Taco Friday here. That doesn't mean you guys have to eat tacos. I just get rather excited when we have something that's different. So I'm just saying. We eat a lot of chicken, and we get like fish once a week, and the tilapia is getting a little bit old. So I'll be pretty excited for the tacos.
A little bit old.
I'm sure you like tacos.
Yeah, I love tacos.
Okay. Everybody likes tacos. Everybody can get, and yes, Mike Peter Ryder.
Boy, I want to talk about
I rather
this
enjoy
reversion.
food. I believe you should enjoy food. I have a healthy relationship with food.
Oh my God.
I think there's nothing wrong with that. I eat pretty healthy, but if I'm eating something that I enjoy, then trust me, I'm eating something that I enjoy. And I'm very much about that. If I'm eating a burger, I'm not eating a bad burger. I'm eating a good burger. If I'm eating a donut, I'm eating the best donut.
Yeah.
Not like just any donut. Well, I mean, I'll eat any after.
If you do it, do it big.
Yeah, exactly.
Otherwise,
and,
why do it at all?
Oh, there it is. We just got a super chat, which, tilapia fish tacos. Hard pass. I love fish tacos. Thank you for the super chat. I love fish tacos, but we've eaten so much tilapia. Like, we've gotten tilapia once a week for the last 2 months now. Like, I'm all tilapia'd out at this point.
Yeah.
So that's a hard pass for me. Just way too much, man. Way too much.
Fishy business.
It's not bad. It's not the best.
I don't know. I think it's
not the best.
Almost had more fish last night, and I was like, nope, I'm gonna get some pizza. So.
Right.
Get some pizza instead. But no, I'm excited for tacos. But I want to talk about some of this reversion follow through right here, all the way back down to VWAP. We were talking about the lower high here on Tesla. Oh boy, sellers slamming it right back into VWAP right here. So consolidation lows 434.70s. I can't number sometimes. Yeah, pulling back into VWAP right here. That's sitting at 433s and some change. So oh boy, was even better on the lower high. Literally, I'm like typing out to my pod. I'm like, yo, lower high on Tesla is looking enticing. I say that. I look back at it. 10 seconds later, slam all the way back down to 435s. I'm like, I can't.
Damn.
Like, you can't even wait on these things.
Yes, you can.
If you see it, you got to take it, because you don't know how much longer it's going to stand around. We talk about some of the best prices and some of the best action being competitive and being, what do you call it, kind of crowded. It's not going to stick around if prices are competitive. You have to fight for some of those prices, especially if it's going to get competitive, right? And
you know what else you have to fight for? You have to fight for the right to Ronnie. RANI is halted to the upside, just opened up. I have a 99% chance of being right with this comment that Sharif is going to be on this stock. Because why? Because it's gapped up 260. It just hit another halt band and did not halt, so it just got to the band and is not halting. But it's above VWAP. It's a huge gapper, which means Sharif is contractually obligated to trade it. Trust me, I've read the contract. It's about to halt again. We are Opie filling for Sean and myself. You know who I am.
Sir.
I don't even know why I just said that.
Oh boy,
let's go over to the midday. We got Joey options. We've got Sharif. Get it on Ronnie, Sharif.
Get it on Ronnie.